Hello there. I didn't see it. Sorry, I'm holding up. This is a visual joke. This is a really bad idea on my part. I said, "Hey, I'm going to do a funny bit because I finally got my book. My physical book is right here. Hi, and it's awesome and it's textured. You just you can feel like and it's shiny like and yeah. Anyway, hi, welcome to Adventures with Lollygagging. I'm just so very excited. I also got the lore master screen, excuse me, like right here, which is great because I should probably learn those rules at some point. And yeah, we're Adventures Lollygagging. We're playing One Ring tonight, and continuing our Waking of Angmar campaign. And we had some major drama actually last session where we almost lost one of our characters for the first time.
Yeah.
Oh, so much. Thank you so much. When is your are you guys starting next week, Lewis? Is it next week that you guys are starting your game? I think that's right. I think that's right. I don't know.
Are
I
they
don't
doing
know.
One Ring?
Who knows? Yeah, yeah. I was gonna
I
play it,
can't
and
wait
then
to
they
watch
were
another
like,
one.
no, you can't because we don't like you, and that's vaguely how I remember the conversation happening. Might not have been exactly that, but that's how I feel. So that's what happened. Melissa, you got to keep track of that. Thank you so much for those bits.
I got it.
But yeah, we had kind of a crazy last session as you guys encountered a nameless thing, which was really fun because there's like this little nameless thing generator, and I can actually hold the book up like I'm a kindergarten teacher or something. Yeah. Floyd, that is true. It is true. There it is. It is. We do know Floyd is plot committed until he dies in Moira. Oh my God, I'm sorry. I'm a little flustered right now because I have my book in front of me and I'm just. It's very exciting. But yeah, we know that Floyd is. We know how Floyd's gonna die, so it's gonna happen in that way.
Not today.
Not today. Or maybe he just becomes so injured that he's just like, invalid for the next couple of decades and everything's fine. Yes, Roger. I was doing a little bit of whining. Silly time zones. But you guys are going to be a lot of fun. So I can't wait to watch your guys' game. But yeah. Shall we get started? I guess, do we have any announcements? Ashley, we got a game tonight, don't you? We got a game after this, you and me.
We do have a game tonight.
Yeah.
We're going to be playing The Darkest House on Defenders of Kobold.
Yeah.
It's Monty Cook Games are the creators of the game.
I think that's right. Yeah.
And yeah, Steven's going to be our DM, and he's going to terrorize us, and it's going to be great.
Mm-hmm. He's not here right now because he's got some sort of special weekend with him and his Dungeons and Dragons friends.
Yeah, they got a D&D weekend.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
They did like 5 hours or something.
But he's taking a pause to come run for us. So yeah. I would gladly play a crotchety old lady in your game, Roger. No problem. Just the crotchetiest of crotchety old ladies.
Would you be a hobbit?
I'll be whatever they want me to be honest. I mean, I would probably say the only thing I wouldn't be particularly good at is probably playing an elf, but because I like they. No, I don't hate elves. I just don't feel like I could do one justice. I feel like everything would just turn into, like I would be a very poor interpreter. I will do my best, of course, but like everything would just turn into a silly joke at some point. And like, they're so serious. Anyway, let's see. Yeah, but that's it. Yeah, we got a game later tonight. Actually, crank yourself up a little bit too. I think you were a little quiet on my meter. So, why don't we introduce characters and then we'll dive into the summary and then we'll get started. So, Melissa, tell us about Aureniel.
So, Aureniel is a 21-year-old Ranger of the North champion. She's working on being bold and swift in her actions. She's pretty good with her short sword and bow. She's got some snowshoes that will... and some D6s to make those snowshoes kick ass, whatever she's going to do with them at some point. And she has been blessed with a very awesome helm, just if you have been blessed with a very awesome book that you're showing everyone. And yeah, There's something else that I was going to say. I totally forgot what it was.
They're very distracting, aren't they? Like the physical, and they're not even in front of you too. You didn't buy the Kickstarters. I don't see why you should get to have these at your desk. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Ashley, that would be hilarious. Turning all elves into valley girls.
Yeah.
Oh, no. So now I'm gonna do it. Now it's gonna be in my head canon. So yeah,
Sorry.
it's gonna be great. Yeah. Okay. Next we have Floy, O Ye of Near Death. Tell us about Floy, Leo Long.
Yeah, I'm a young dwarf, a successful treasure hunter now. He's gotten 2 successful loads. He's known for his hardiness. All the battles and near deaths he's had already. But he's recovering. He's making out of it.
Yeah. So it was really close for you because you were poisoned grievously. You were wounded. You had, I think, something like 19 or 20 days on like your recovery time because of the poison. And then they had to drag you away. You were really close to dying. But at the same time, like, I missed so many attacks on you as you were like swimming through the dark, like abyss beneath the keep that like if a couple more of those hit, I think Floy might have been a different Floy that was going to the mines later in life with Balance. So I don't know. And you got a scar too. We talked about this just before we came on air. Did you figure out what your permanent remembrance or scar or marking of this
like
attack
a giant
is?
lash on the side of my ribs.
Okay. Is it in a specific shape or is it just like, is it discolored or anything?
It's discolored. Yeah, it's just nice and long down the side.
Okay. Right on. See, red side, best side. You pointed out too. Gilly's random tendon, bookmark there. That's just a hint. That's just like the precursor.
That was just a creepy Ashley moment, more so than a Gilly moment.
No. You are secretly an agent in the shadow, and we possibly the agent of the shadow. I don't know. We'll see.
To be decided. I am true-hearted, but for what?
Yeah, but that heart is just black and shriveled. So that's all it basically is, right?
I feel like you're talking about me personally.
Anyway, tell us more about Gilly.
Gilly is our wonderful little hobbit friend. She is keen-eyed, true-hearted. She's a scholar, and yeah, we learned that I think we kind of knew because she's writing a whole book about Floy, but she just has a soft spot in her heart for dwarves. And yeah, that's Gilly.
Yeah,
she
right
also
on.
might be an evil mastermind, to be decided.
Indeed. I think it's already been decided. It's just a question of when we reveal it, as opposed to if we come to that point.
Yeah.
Oh man. So look at Long right now. Long's getting a little talking to right now. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm playing a tabletop role playing game where I pretend to be a dwarf. Like, what the hell does that mean?
I don't think they can see he's talking to someone.
Let's just role play. Let's just role play what's going on. I'll be the guy.
We're gonna
talking
do our
before.
fellowship phase, and then we'll just bring him back. He can tell us what he did in his fellowship phase.
It's like you need to cut your hair. Your hair's getting way too long. It's gonna catch on fire. I'm like, it's not gonna catch on fire. My hair's it's not flammable. Oh,
Yes, rest side, best side. Floy will need to check his treasure when he's done. When we're done with the fellowship phase. See if that got divvied out.
Oh yeah. Ashley, do you have a monocle?
No, but I can buy one. Amazon's the thing.
We will get you one.
We're vamping until Long's ready again. But yeah. Why don't I do the summary then? Why don't we just do that? So you all have departed from Coombe. I've been told on our YouTube channel that it should be pronounced Coombe. So that's what I'm gonna do, as opposed to like comb, like what you brush your hair with. So until someone tells me otherwise, that's what I'm gonna switch to. But you all departed with the intention of heading up to Mount Gram. And you were heading there because you were specifically looking to speak with someone by the name of Marimben, who is a ranger ally of Talendil, someone you met while you were trying to explore the ruins of Fornost. You've been given a small necklace that you learned was his daughter's, to present and kind of like hang somewhere along the western slopes of the mountain where there's some kind of ruined tower, and then hopefully Maram Ben will find you, right? And so you journeyed. You made some connections along the way, including a pair of dwarves by the name of Thorvum and Thebe, who you created some kind of plan to meet up with each other if possible, as they were kind of heading off chasing after the orc kind of war chieftain Rotag, who you all have heard of and were also concerned with. You continued northward. You kind of passed through some Rudauer hills. You had some encounters and like these kind of strange sightings and other things where the land itself seemed almost tainted by the shadow and was kind of messing around with you here and there. Some of you felt that like kind of spiritually, but some of you also felt like kind of physically, right? Eventually, you found a homestead of people who were suspicious, guarded, but eventually were friendly, or at least accommodating, and gave you a little bit of information about Lottie and how she was kind of a leader of a clan of Rudauers. They don't even use the term anymore, but a clan of hillfolk who are basically going around and sort of treasure hunting throughout these old Rudauer ruins, and kind of collecting powerful artifacts and items of power. And that might be the reason why she went into Fornost as well. And they also mentioned how there was a nearby ruin that hadn't been yet sacked by a lot of these people. So you guys went out there hoping to recover whatever powerful treasure there might be there, keep it out of Lottie's hands, but also potentially look for this homestead, one of their eldest sons, Geldor, who was off possibly searching here to find a gift to give to Lottie. You managed to recover some treasure from the ruin. You also recovered the bag of Geldor, but never actually found Geldor himself. You encountered some marsh dwellers, these kind of undead, almost zombie-like creatures swimming around in this dark, boggy water. And while Floy was swimming deep beneath this kind of slowly sinking keep, he encountered a nameless thing, the Lurker in the Dark. There were rumors about this here and there, and you all had to flee. And in the process, Floy was nearly killed. He was actually poisoned. He was wounded and poisoned by a hideous tentacle that came out of this creature. Fortunately, it does seem like that creature wanted to stay within the boundaries of the keep, and you all were able to escape back into the bog and work your way back towards the homestead. You stopped at the slopes of one of the hills where you had left your ponies, and you were able to attend to Floy with some literally life-saving healing, and were able to kind of keep him from leaving this the mortal plane. And so we talked about it, and since Floy is essentially going to be injured because his injury is up to I think 19 days. And you all you had a successful council with these people, Nadil and Una, and you brought them back their son's equipment, even though you weren't able to find them. Una was very thankful. Nadil was sort of brooding and more upset with himself about not chasing after Geldor than he was upset with you all. We all decided that I think a fellowship phase probably makes the most sense, because it's going to be several weeks. And so that's what we're going to start off this session with, is a small fellowship phase. We're going to keep it. We've already set our destination to this particular homestead. So there's certain things like meeting with patrons that aren't going to be allowed, obviously. But other things are potentially useful. So you got a small amount of adventure points, small amount of skill points. We cut short the journey, and then we'll pick up the journey in a couple weeks once Floy has fully recovered. So I think that we all agree that sort of made the most sense. And because you did well on the council, like this option is open to you. So why don't we dive in? And so let's go back through how the fellowship phase works. So I think, don't forget, you all, there's instructions in our journal section. So we've got our duration. We're going to treat it like 3 weeks. And then destination is Nadil and Una's homestead, which there is now a little mark on the map where that actually is. And you all have to spend experience points and adventuring points, or you can save them if you want to. And then you can take you do training, you do growth, and then we go into spiritual recovery. So why don't we start with like experience points and adventuring points, and we'll do kind of like the same thing. Like, tell us what you did and sort of give us like a brief description of what that looked like in terms of the training over this course of the couple weeks. Like, what were you doing to kind of get better at this, or what event happened in this journey that kind of led you to want to do this? So, Melissa, we'll start with you. How did Auriniel spend her experience in adventuring points?
So Auriniel really wants to make sure, just kind of seeing just how much, kind of getting hurt and injured can, kind of waylay what we're trying to do. She really wanted to kind of focus on, kind of that protection. So what she was going to do is she's going to look for someone within this homestead that seems to be good with a needle and thread and or good with leatherworking.
Sure. And Reza would probably be the one that you would find yourself working with. She seems to be a widower, maybe. She doesn't seem to talk too much about her husband, but she is with, or her family. But she seems to be a friend of Nadil and Una, a little bit older than the two of them. You're not sure, like, she doesn't really get into her history too much. You could definitely tell all of them are still a little bit guarded around you all, not willing to reveal too much. But you do notice that when it comes to like repairing clothes or repairing any kind of like leather working that needs to be repaired, it does seem like Reza is the one that takes over that job. So yeah. And not only that, but she's also the one that kind of goes hunting and does tanning and everything as well. So she does like the whole one-stop shop of this. So whether it's kind of creating rawhide strips or whether it's actually making kind of fur, like fur blankets or something like that, she has her own little workshop within this homestead, this kind of thatched roof area where after the first couple of days of you lingering around, maybe she's none too happy about it. And you definitely get the sense that she's nowhere near as receptive as Nadil or Una or their children are. But
so
she's
what
also,
Auriniel would do then, kind of seeing that she, isn't necessarily warming up, Auriniel definitely wants to make sure that we are contributing while we're here. So Auriniel would take some time to sort of go out hunting, and kind of bring back some animals, kind of to contribute to everyone, and also to contribute to kind of her leatherworking, hide work.
You try to bribe her with some materials.
And basically just say, we're ever so grateful for everyone's hospitality for us being here, and I can't help but notice that you have a talent for working with your hands and doing some repairs and things, and I wanted to offer some of the fruits of my labor, and I'm wondering if perhaps you might be willing to share some of your skills with me, hoping that maybe in the time that I'm here I can maybe get a little bit better with some of this crafting. And I'm also hoping to maybe make some modifications to my leather shirt so that it's a bit more close fitting.
Out of curiosity, make a hunting test to see how the quality or quantity of the materials you bring to her. This is not at all going to affect the rewards you get, but it might affect kind of her view towards you.
I am apparently horrible at hunting.
and you get the feeling that she is she's over the course of like a couple days or weeks, we see this begrudging this sort of begrudgingness to help you with anything, and she almost treats you like a child. And at more than once you see like Sodden or one of Nadil and Una's other children are like kind of working as well with you, and you get the sense that all of the tasks that she's assigning you are literally the same task as she's assigning these like 4 and 5 year old kids. And in some cases, when a task needs some level of complication, some level of competence, she gives it to the kid as opposed to you. But through the course of those couple of weeks, you're able to, like, almost kind of through osmosis of just observation, just watching her here and there, you're able to pick up enough to where you're able to kind of affect your own improvements to your equipment, and you're able to sort of apply some of what you observe, maybe not as efficiently or effectively or as prettily as Reza might have done, but enough to make it work.
Sweet.
Okay. Anything
So-
else that you do besides this?
So mechanically, what that means is that I'm moving my craft from 0 to 1.
Okay.
And then I am kind of applying a +2 protection to my leather shirt.
So you're taking your valor reward. So you bumped your valor up with your adventuring points, and you took a reward to improve your shirt, your leather shirt, and then you also spent your skill points to increasing your crafting skill. Perfect.
Yep.
Okay. Floy, you're in bed and recovering. You're moving slowly about, more than once, either Irinial or maybe Una or one of the other people who's serving host to your convalescence. We'll come by and like kind of check your bandages and your wounds and things like that. And over the course of like a couple weeks, you slowly start. We see you getting better. At first, you're kind of bedridden, and then you slowly start to move, and then eventually you kind of get to the point where you're moving, but albeit slowly. What is Floy doing, and how did you spend your points?
Yeah, I spent my adventure points getting a wisdom up, so that gave me another virtue. Yeah, virtue.
Yes.
And I doubled up on my original one. I took hardiness the first time. I took hardiness again. So that gives me another 2 endurance points.
Almost like your body is getting calloused from all the times you're getting hit or something.
Yeah,
Just the
exactly.
scar tissue is building
Scar
up
tissue.
so much. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. Okay. Yeah, and I would say like it's probably not the most like social time for Floy, simply because you are readily resting. Your wound is 19 days worth, so almost the entirety of the fellowship phase you are either sleeping all day, sleeping half the day, or barely being able to move. So your jogging that we are familiar with seeing Floy undertake, not really happening. So maybe your legs aren't quite there. You're gonna have to pick those back up as the time goes. Okay. Do you what about the mithril coat of mail, or coat of mithril, I should say, because you all did pick that up. I think you took it, and I think
Yeah,
I'm
right.
not sure who took the pearl, but
I think we're gonna do an undertaking for that.
so yeah, okay, all right, fair enough. No, you can't do the undertaking for. You can't do an undertaking for weapons and armor. That's
Oh, okay.
that's valor rewards. So yeah, this is the first time we've had it. So I'll explain the rule for those who
Sure.
those who are listening, and if hopefully I'm not getting
One
this
or
wrong.
the other.
But yeah, so a weapon, like a magical weapon or a known weapon or something like that, like famous weapons and armor, that kind of thing. They can have anywhere between 1 to 3 qualities, and those qualities could be like the things that you guys can put on your weapons that you guys have access to, but there's also a whole extra list that I can pull from for like these magical weapons, essentially, right? I'm using magical with air quotes, and so you can have 1 to 3 of those, and the more the more it has, the more kind of powerful it is. And when you first get it, the only quality that's accessible to you is its first quality, like the first thing listed, in this case mithril, which is in itself a thing. And it basically means is that the load of this is lighter. A coat of mail is normally a 12 load, and a coat of mithril affording the same protection is actually literally half that, so it's like 6. So it's so much lighter. And remember, it's kind of got this sort of dark quality to it, which is surprising in some respects, because mithril is usually kind of luminescent in some ways, and it has this little kind of purple amethyst at the nape of the neck where the coat comes over top. If you wanted to unlock more qualities, there's 2 ways. One is you would have to have burned your valor reward, so you would have had to tick up your valor to get a reward, and then you could have unlocked it that way. And the other way is during a Yule Fellowship, I think it's Yule Fellowship phase, you would have to visit like a treasury of a specific culture, and then you can kind of learn. And so in this case, if you would have like went back to the Blue Mountains for Christmas, so to speak, you could potentially have taken that undertaking and learned more about what this thing can do.
Got it.
Okay. And then we'll kick it over to Gilly. So Gilly, what did you do?
So Gilly increased her valor to 2 and got herself a grievous weapon, so she now has a grievous fell bow.
Nice.
And then she spent some points to get to 2 in athletics because she was at 1, and that just did not do me any favors. So I spent the 8 points to get to 2.
Gotcha.
And so in order to get this, because Gilly's a lounger, she likes to read, spend times in libraries. She doesn't really go outside too much, except for, when we were in Coombe and we were running around with Floy.
Yeah.
And so she is
Basic
helping
training.
with like the farm work. So like the really like
Okay.
manual labor stuff, like, digging up crops and helping rotate manure and all that nonsense. So
I think that sounds great. And I think you'll probably be spending a lot of time then with Nadil and Una who are there, but also with Barrick, the guy who they warned you about a little bit, about him being he's not necessarily like you saw like during the council, like he was arguing a lot and he was objecting to like them treating you nicely, and he basically just wanted to like just kill you guys and be done with it. But it doesn't seem like he holds a position of power within this group. And he avoids you the whole time. So this whole time he stays completely away from you, and the only time whenever you happen to lock eyes with him, you just sort of cross eyes at some point, and like every time there's just like kind of hate just kind of covered in his face, kind of looking. And Una just she's much more she's probably the nicest of all of them. Then the kids are sweet as can be, and you especially the ones that you teach how to draw and things like that, and maybe more than once or twice in the deal, or Una will help you like kind of teaching you better like other ways of like shooting a bow here and there, as they have their own hunting bows as well. They're not anything to write home about, but they're very effective and they're decent at it, and they're definitely better at hunting with them than Iriniel is. So it's certainly helpful.
No.
Okay. The Brad Pitt of dwarves. I had forgotten completely about the Brad Pitt of dwarves. Thank you, Insight. That's it. Okay. So that's your what's it called? Your training and your growth. So let's get into spiritual recovery. Automatically recover a number of hope points equal to your heart scores. So whatever your heart score is, again, not the big target number, the small number for your heart score. For your heart score.
For hope.
So get that back. And if the adventuring phase was a positive outcome in the fight against the encroaching shadow, you get to remove 1 to 3 shadow points as determined by moi. I'm gonna give you all 1 back. Simply because you are actually able to recover some magical items and keep them literally out of the hands of Lottie. I think that does actually help. But the overall adventuring phase was cut short, right? So like any attempts to sort of do more than that was cut short because of the injury to Floy. So I think 1 is fair. So you can remove 1 shadow point. And then let's dive into undertakings. You get 2. You all have to agree on these, of course. The first ones you can choose from the whole list, with the exception of the Yule only ones. So the Keel Scars, Raise an Air, Recount a Story. And I'm also taking out Meet Patron, as Balin is nowhere near this homestead. So I'm going to say no to that one. But the rest of them, you've got Gather Rumors, Strengthen Fellowship, Ponder Storied and Figured Maps, Study Magical Items, and Write a Song. So what did you all decide upon for the first one?
Long, what did you want to do?
I think we wanted to study that pearl.
Okay, that you can do for free though. Because you get 2 undertakings. The first one is anything from the list, and the second one is only the things that you 3, your specific classes have access to. And since you're a treasure hunter, you get access to that one. So you could always burn that one. So if there's something outside of the 3 that a champion and a scholar and a treasure hunter have. So a champion would get Write a Song, a Study Magical Item is what treasure hunters get, and then Ponder Storied and Figured Maps is what. So if you're going to want to do one of those 3, you definitely want to save that for the free one. And then
So we can't stack the ones we have. Like we can't do.
We can. We can pick from any. So like we can do that one, and like we could do the scholar one. Like those could be our 2. Like
Absolutely.
if it happens to overlap, that's fine.
So I think we're all agreed that that's something we want to do. What else is it that you guys would like to do?
Yeah, definitely agree with the study magical items.
Okay.
The maps one. That one was interesting. Ponder Story and Figured Maps. for the
Mhm.
scholar.
So you gain a +1
+1.
modifier to all feat die rolls made to determine the nature of events during journeys. And so when we start moving again, whenever I roll to see what kind of events you have, that would give you a +1. Higher is better on that chart.
Yeah.
So, okay. Is that what you want to do?
I'm cool with that. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll say then that the story it figured in maps will say that it's probably less about actually looking at specific maps and more about conversing with the people who you are now staying with and learning about like hunting trails. And you're almost maybe creating your own maps, like sketching them in Gilly's books. And they're kind of warning you off like certain paths and telling you what to look out for, like where are there like aggressive animals, like packs of like wolves or wolverines or something like that you want to stay away from, or what terrain is particularly treacherous, or in some cases maybe just like those strange ruins that you encountered that have some kind of negative effect, like how to avoid those as well. And so it's probably less, again, they don't have necessarily like a library here, but by kind of conversing with Una in the deal, and probably to a lesser degree, like Reza, you're able to piece together some dangerous zones that you certainly want to avoid, or certain signs to look out for as you're journeying that might cause you to turn around or take a detour, or how to better navigate when the mists arise and to kind of keep your path when the sun isn't completely visible. As for study magical items, who's got the pearl?
Reniel, I believe,
Okay,
has the box.
that's cool. Just taking all the magical items.
Sorry, did somebody else?
Real nice, Melissa.
Do you have it, Gilly?
I don't have one yet.
Okay, we'll say Gilly has the pearl. Sorry, I was just thinking about like who would have carried it.
Yeah. No worries.
Okay, so remember that this was like there was a case, like this wooden case, carved lacquer. It's got these like engravings, definitely indicated that this was of elvish design. And then inside was this beautiful cloth that was embroidered and stitched like just with even better precision than even Reza, who, when you were watching her, Erwiniel, was quite adept at what she was doing. This is just the precision and the artistry of it was immense. But underneath all of that was the real prize, the real treasure, which in itself was this large and beautiful white pearl that just seemed to give off the faintest of light, like it was actually luminescent in some way. You're not sure if that's really true, or if you're just imagining it, or if it's just sort of reflecting the sunlight or the moonlight in a way that is brighter than you would have expected. And it seems like whenever you hold it, it kind of glistens and you can feel a warmth. Maybe it's just a trick of the mind, maybe it's not, but you feel kind of a warmth overtake you in your chest, like this sort of calmness and serenity. And you also, every now and then, find yourself just kind of humming a tune that you don't even really recognize it, but it just sort of gets caught in your head. But this is a wondrous item, actually, and it's a gem, specifically pearl. Its craftsmanship is clearly elven. There's no one around here, like, whether you show it to these people or not, it's kind of up to you, but there's no one around here that you would reckon would probably know the origins of this, since it's so specifically clearly elvish. However, you do, over the course of the couple weeks, as you're messing with it, maybe when you're working with, you're kind of checking in on Floy and checking in his bandages, switching them out and helping him, you do notice that whenever that pearl seems to be on your person and around, like, he seems to have a better day. He seems to have, like, his wounds just seem to sort of stitch together a little bit more clearly. The strange discoloration around the poisoned wound just seems to retreat a little bit further than other days. And then as you and Gilly are going over and interviewing the people here about kind of ways to go and kind of learning about the lore of the area, you find yourself just sort of focusing and understanding, and especially when they start describing like how to use the land itself to navigate, just knowledge of different flora and fauna and weather and how that can help you. This has the effect of healing and lore. So what this means is, much like the helm, whenever you would roll a healing test or a lore test, in this case, either one of those, you would be able to get 2d6s on that bonus die. And it also allows for a magical success. And a magical success is an automatic success if you burn a hope point before rolling. You can say, I just automatically want to succeed. You burn a hope point, and you automatically succeed. So that's a magical success. But you have no idea about the specific origins of this. And Arenil, you're smart enough, and you've had enough experience with elves to know that it's possible they could probably tell you more about it, should you encounter one.
Very cool. Is this something that I can give to Gilly?
Yes, in this case, yeah. Like anyone can take it. Doesn't matter. It's not one of those things where you can kind of trade it off over and over again. Like, okay,
no,
you get the healing test, and then you get knights. Like,
and I didn't want to sort of be stockpiling these things, so I would want Gilly to have it. This will help with lore.
Oh, that would be lovely. I love reading. She's just like taking notes, sketching in stuff in her book and whatnot.
Yeah, it just kind of gives you like a crispness and clarity of purpose. Like whenever you're reading through your notes, like you find your mind drifting less readily. You find yourself not having to like reread passages as much. Like there's a clarity to you that you've had it before, but not with as much regularity. But it seems whenever this pearl is kind of on your person, you're just capable of like reading and sort of deciphering things with a greater focus and a greater like expediency than like it's like you're constantly operating, it seems, at your best level, as opposed to like occasionally having those moments where your mind drifts and you have to reread this whole passage.
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
Okay, so those are your two undertakings. That's it. And so we'll say we montage a lot of these different scenes, and eventually Nadil.
Before we go on, could I go back real quick? I realized I had some, because you had said earlier that I was spending a lot of time with the kids, because Raisa kept giving me jobs with the kids.
Yes, you were in the kindergarten class.
So I was wondering if I could,
Lateral. That's good.
Since I am swift, like I was wondering if maybe I could increase my Enhearten skill by like doing some like races like with the kids.
If you have the skill point, do you have the skill points for it?
I do, yeah, because I had leftover skill points from last time, and so I do actually have enough. So I was wondering if I could, just sort of like, just kind of do some races and just kind of have them like having fun while we're doing the things. Like, while I'm stuck with the kids, let's have some fun and lift their spirits.
Definitely, you are. If you recall, they were not particularly fond of you and your people, which they were referring to you as a ranger, less as a human, more specifically as a ranger of the north. They could just tell from your garb, your demeanor, that you are clearly a ranger of the north. And it's a little harder going for you with some of the people, at least the adults, than it was for Gilly, who there was kind of a curiosity to her. Right. And even Floy, they recognized, Floy as a dwarf. And then when he came back injured, they didn't have a whole lot of time to socialize with him, and they were just merely trying to help him. But it takes a little bit more doing. The children are certainly, when they're on their own, which they're not usually on their own around you, it seems like there's always adult kind of lingering. But when they're on their own around you, or even if they're just like like Reza or Una or Nadil or even Barak are busy with their tasks, and they're not paying 100% attention to the children and you when you're undergoing whatever tasks. Like, you definitely start to win the kids over some more, and through the little races here and there, whether it's like racing like by running or like racing to finish tasks or whatever it might be. And there's a lot of giggling and laughter, and through this sort of befriending of the children, the adults soften a little bit more. Never Barak and Reza, not so much either, but definitely you by the time you all are packing up to leave, you feel like you've sort of made friends almost with Nadil and Una, and they even at one point say that you're welcome back should something befall you all.
Question in chat. Yes, this required a potato
beautiful
sack.
It's a 3-legged race. You just start. That's what it is. You do a whole field day. Okay. So we montage all these scenes over the course of 3 weeks. You all recuperate as best you can. I'm gonna hand wave some of like the endurance tests because we're gonna be having plenty of short rest and prolonged rest, so you can kind of reset to that. But you pack up both beet and root, and you bid your farewells. The children are actually very upset to see you all leave. You can definitely tell that there's relief on the look of Reza. Barrick, you don't see at all. And Nadil and Una kind of bid you farewell. And they also say, you know, like in a quiet moment, they pull you aside and they say, should my son have, you know, I think I was doing should you meet him in battle, should he have escaped from the creature that had attacked your dwarven friend, should you see a boy who looks like me but younger, mercy, if you might, please. At least give him an opportunity, perhaps, to settle the conflict with words, not with swords. And with that, they
Have our word.
They bid you farewell. Maybe they give you a couple basic rations, and you guys are back to your journey. All right. I assume no changes to our journey rolls.
Yeah, same rolls.
All right. So, gonna need a travel test from old Floy, I believe, as he is the guide.
Ah, it feels good to be back on the road. Been in bed for so many weeks. Travel.
Last time we got to go do some jogging around and, build up our fellowship. But this time we were down one. It just didn't feel right to do. I did some running though. I don't know if you got to see. I think those kids are a little bit faster for our time together.
That's good stuff. Looks like I haven't lost my wits though.
Extraordinary success. Good gracious.
You guys are allowed to keep talking while I'm doing rolls. You just keep
they just make us
while I'm doing
nervous,
stuff.
you
Just so
know,
you
and
know.
we're just
Yeah,
like,
just-
what's
just-
happening?
Just
Let's
this
roll.
is just
Party.
standard stuff. You're not doing anything wrong. It's just standard
I
stuff.
know.
I'm rolling in my target, my events target, and I'm rolling in my journey events. That's all. And you guys did take the +1, right? Didn't you do the +1 too?
Yes. Yep.
All right, so that's gonna be a thing.
Wait, what is
It's gonna be
+1?
That's what the story and figured.
What does
maps
+1
was.
exactly mean though? Like you said, +1.
It means you get a +1 to the roll, meaning
Oh,
like
just like
it's
one.
yeah, you literally get +1 to it. So the table kind of goes up towards a certain number, and I will say this is actually a very right off the bat, it helps you all out. Okay, I need lookout. Who's the lookout? Is that Gilly?
Is that what is that?
It's awareness.
Yeah, that's me.
Okay, go for it.
Oh gosh. Mel, I'll take a dice.
Okay.
My thing
Wow.
froze. Did it freeze for anybody else?
21.
21. No, it didn't freeze. You froze. Okay. So you can see that's what ended up happening because of your +1, is that you guys got joyful sight. So I'm going to ask you all.
Oh, cool.
You can do this then. So you're like each one of the like on my side, I have hexes on the GM side, and each one of these hexes is like supposedly like 20 miles across or something like that. Actually, I have to roll again because you guys are in some. These rolls are ill-favored.
Oh.
Yeah, ignore the joyful sight. These rolls are
Okay,
ill-favored.
So we don't get hope. Got it.
You do not get hope. I apologize. Okay. So I rolled a. All right.
So I'm doing a little roll. The discussion in chat is that kids are natural sprinters and very dangerous over short distances. So I rolled athletics to see if they beat me or not, and they did, because I was very bad at gathering squirrels, and very bad at running, apparently.
Maybe you just don't want to beat the kids. That's what keeps their hope up.
So you all are traveling for a bit, and again, what I was going to say is that on my map I have hexes, and on your map, etc. So like essentially you guys can move yourselves. So if I'm on a different map, so if someone can control your token, I would appreciate it. So you can kind of move it about an inch or so up, kind of up to like where that next ruin is almost. So each one of these hexes is roughly about 20 miles or so. They take about a day or more, depending on the type of terrain. In this case, I'm treating these like hills, so it's taking a little bit longer to pass by. And if you recall, like the travel is very dreary. You've got all of this mist and fog that pops up either during the morning or during the day. You have these deep and dark valleys, and so when you're traveling through them in the morning, you're just constantly moving through mist. When you get up to the tops of the hills and you look around, there's just sort of this forlorn feeling to the horizon. You see copses of trees here and there atop some of these hills, but they don't present to you with this kind of this inspirational sight, as they look kind of crooked and somewhat barren. And now that we're into autumn, their leaves are kind of whatever they had are kind of falling here and there. And more often than not, like you crinkle across these as you go. And at a certain point, as you're moving through, like Gilly, you're kind of looking out for potential dangers here and there, and you kind of crest over top of one of these hills. And you can, because you're so sort of small and slight of foot, you don't notice. Actually, no, you passed, didn't you?
Yeah, I did pass.
Yeah, you noticed like at the last second, you're able to just avoid falling into what looks like some small pit at the top of one of these hills that had been covered with fallen, broken branches and leaves. You're not sure if this was done intentionally or if this was done accidentally, or if this is just sort of a natural like erosion. But as Beats is sort of following behind you all, like Beat and Root, you have to like reach around and at the last second kind of grab like the reins of your ponies before they kind of go falling in. And unfortunately, one of them does kind of tumble inside. You're able to sort of slow their descent ever so slightly. Your stuff kind of goes scattered about. But you spend a significant portion of this afternoon to the point where you end up having to camp here, not just trying to like kind of collect your things, which start to like roll down and scatter down the hillside in different directions, but also to get poor Beat out of this pit, and they are kind of hobbled for a little while, and you decide like maybe it's best to just leave Root to leave Beat to like off her feet for a bit and maybe kind of unload the packs, and you kind of spend a little bit extra time on top of the roof. Go ahead and all of you take fatigue, 2 points of fatigue, and because you failed, you don't take the additional, so you're good.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as you're camping this night, your awareness, you got a great success on the awareness. You do notice something as the sun completely sets and as the sky gets dark and the clouds overhead are so full that the sky and the moon aren't as clear to you. And you notice Gilly, as everyone's settling down. Maybe Auriniel is caring for one of the ponies, and Floy is still maybe resting and recovering from his injury. You, Gilly, you look over top of like one of your books with your little lantern next to it, kind of hooded and snuffed, and you notice that yours is not the only light that is visible. As perhaps a mile away atop of another hill, you see a faint light appear. And you maybe hood your lantern just a little bit, and as you look, it almost looks like a campfire. And it's at a distance. And you didn't really see any travelers or anything like that as you were coming, but this is more sort of northwesternly. But you see a campfire, at least the light of one, kind of glowing and flickering. Looks like the light kind of dancing up to these crooked tree branches above. That's kind of allowing the light to throw a little bit further. What do you guys like to do?
Gilly will kind of like nudge Floy and Aurenial and like let them know what she saw. And be like, we should probably sleep in shifts just in case they approach us, unless we want to go check it out. Or we could leave early in the morning and try and catch up and see who it is.
Renee will
Or
look
go
over
now.
to Floy and just see, do we want to try to get a little closer and take a look?
Is it dark right now?
It's
Yes,
definitely
I do.
nighttime.
I don't know if going up to something out in the wild here is a good idea. Should probably be unknown to them as well. Put out any fires we have going.
Okay.
Definitely sleep in shifts, as Gilly recommends. I guess I was
You
hoping
put-
maybe it might be the dwarves that we were going to try to meet up with.
Oh, they were running.
Yeah, I
probably.
don't think meet up with them.
I don't think it's them.
It's been a
We
while.
took a detour, got injured, spent 3 weeks. No
they're
way.
gonna think you all like stood them up. Is what's gonna happen
I
now.
hope not.
Now they're gonna have revenge on you all.
No.
It's its own thing, Tech. It's a completely different rule set. I mean, obviously, like they're all kind of like inspired to some degree by each other, but yeah, the rule set is definitely different companies, all that kind of stuff. Okay, so do you? Someone mentioned, do you snuff your own campfire out?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I call them.
Okay, and so if that's done, it gets very, very cold throughout the night. Then, like incredibly cold to the point where your bones are kind of feeling the aches throughout the night. You're shivering, you're shaking, you're kind of squeezing to yourselves. As it's autumn now. Like you guys spent like
Mm-hmm.
the final weeks of summer. You're into autumn. You're en route. It's getting colder and colder by the day. Why doesn't everyone go ahead and we'll say make a like athletics test just to see how like I guess athletics is probably the best because I feel like it's a strength thing. Like how do you kind of keep yourself warm throughout the night? Or whether or not the sort of the extra cold kind of weighs down on you more than you're anticipating.
Success.
Success.
Right on.
Gilly's
Yeah.
cold.
Keely, take an extra point of fatigue as
Okay.
morning comes round and you just feel like just intense like aches and pains. Your joints are hurting. You're far too young for this kind of pain. And like you have like no real feeling in your fingertips, even if you have gloves or wrappings around them as you wake up. When morning does come, like it's not like super bright light, and there's mist everywhere, but you can look off to the hill and you see no one over there. You don't see anyone over there, so maybe they got up before you and departed, but you don't see any signs from about not quite a mile away. Like you don't see any signs of anybody awake and moving about. What do you guys want to do?
I definitely want to head in that direction and check out the campsite, see if we can get any information about who may have been there.
Okay. So Reniel, you head over there. Floy, Gilly, does the whole crew go?
Yeah.
We'll go along.
Okay. So all of you go, and eventually you get to the other side, and you when you kind of get up to the top, you notice again there's this crooked, strange-looking tree, a couple boulders and stuff that are scattered about. Again, you see no immediate signs of any kind of camp, and there's no obvious like kind of discarded equipment or signs of like an old campfire. But if you'd like, you can roll some checks if you want to look a little bit more closely if anybody is interested. I think things like scan would probably be a good thing because it's like looking for something that's hidden or something that's not as obvious, or anything else you feel like would apply.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and scan the area.
Yeah, go for it. Oh man, you are rolling
Wow.
rocks
Oh.
tonight, man. Look at you. You get
Extra.
3 weeks night's sleep, and you're just feeling like a whole new man. Classic long right there.
I'll try explore,
Okay.
see if that works.
And I'll say hold since you did so well, Gilly. Why don't you hold off on your roll because I might introduce something that you might want to peek into a little bit more.
Okay.
Aurelial was not rolling
Yeah.
well today.
That's I saw an ISO on one of those. Okay. So yeah, Flo, you're looking around and you are confident that there is no signs whatsoever of campfire. Like you don't see any evidence of any like kind of debris that's been burned, no ash. There's not even really a kind of a mattened down dirty area. Everything is just sort of this kind of mossy turf. It's got vegetation, the whole ground other than immediately underneath the tree where the roots are kind of breaking through. Is there ever any clearing of dirt? And you know that that's likely what someone would probably do. They wouldn't just build a fire right on top of a bunch of like moss and shrubs and things like that. That's you would conclude that there's no way that there was anyone camping here. But what you do notice, though, is that there are a whole messload of these small white flowers that are kind of growing all around the turf here and there.
It doesn't seem like anyone's been camping here. No signs of fire. Gilly, do you happen to know what these flowers mean?
Yeah, I want to figure out what those are.
Yeah, lore test is fine.
Cool.
Don't forget, if you're using the pearl, you can immediately apply it actually now.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's I have to spend a hope though.
No, that's if you want a magical success. That's if you want the automatic success. You get 2
yeah.
bonus die when you're making a lore test.
For the pearl. Okay, cool.
For the pearl.
Yeah, I am going to do that. Extraordinary success.
Yeah, your hand just kind of, like almost instinctively, like kind of reaches in and like wherever it is, you might be holding the pearl. Are you keeping it in its box or?
So the pearl itself is out of its box. She's got the box and stuff put away,
okay.
But she inside her shirt, and then also with her her leather corselet that she has, she's sewn it like a little pocket for it to be in.
Okay.
So it's close to like her chest.
And almost just like an instinctive thing, like me when I like kind of mess around with my beard or something like that. Like you just kind of reach your hand up and you don't even notice. Like maybe a Renial or Floyd does, is you just start to kind of fiddle with it here and there, as you're looking. You're like kind of kneel down and kind of sniff at these and etc. And yeah, these hopefully I can pronounce this correctly. These are what are called simbelmine. Like, I'm sorry if I got that wrong. But you also know that there's other names for it. With an extraordinary success, you would know that you've heard of other names for it, like Evermind as well. And you know that they are a type of flower that frequently grows on like graves and tombs and things like that. And they bloom throughout throughout the year. There's not like a specific season where they emerge more than others. Thank you so much, Stanley.
So Gilly will like pluck one off and she'll add it to her flower collection that's being pressed into her book.
Okay.
And she'll kind of step back away from where they're blooming and kind of like in reverence and respect to the dead, and she'll let them know, like, usually these grow atop graves.
Let's see. Probably shouldn't linger.
Are these like the flowers that we saw when we were
At the ruins of Rudour?
Foremost.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did. No, these are the flowers you saw over by Fornost.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely need to watch our backs, because the last time we saw these, if these are the same, that was a bad day for us.
Yeah. No, these just mark the dead.
And I'll tell you what, Renil, you can take a free lore test if you want as well, as you're the only one here who might have any idea about like Elvish language stuff. I think we've established that with your background and friends.
Bending one of those bonus dice.
Okay. I mean, it's just to get more info if
I
you wanted it.
can't roll anything today, even with
Yeah,
the extra dice.
You were terrible at PE, terrible at home ec, and you're terrible at your foreign language skills as well. You're just not a school person. You know, school's not for everybody. It's fine.
Oh, not a
Yeah.
radio.
Yeah, not at all. Okay. So do you guys continue onward?
Yeah.
All right, Floyd, give me another travel test. Okay. You guys can go ahead and move yourselves up a bit more to just a little bit under like the E and the L on the map for Ettenmoors. Or E and the T, excuse me. I can spell. So you're not quite there. Almost. Okay. So, again, like these are numerous days that you're traveling at this point. You haven't run into any other groups during the day or night. Periodically, you hear the sounds of like kind of far off wolves and stuff kind of howling in the distance. More than once over the next couple of days as you're traveling, you again have that situation where like you're going to sleep and you see like a light appear on a nearby hill, either to the west or to the south, or it changes every night it seems, but every night thereabouts, like you just see what almost looks like a campfire. And every morning sort of the same thing happens where you go and you see no signs of it whatsoever. And it's just the same thing as well, that these white flowers just seem to be blooming, usually within some kind of large sort of spread here and there, these huge blooms of them, kind of groves. But at no point do you ever run into anyone. Let me go ahead and hit my tables. Sorry,
Renil is so curious and knows that she is awful at stealth.
Go ahead and roll another awareness test, Gilly, as it's come up for you again.
Okay. Can I get another dice small?
Yep.
Gabe says we need to stay hydrated. Everyone take a shot.
Ooh,
You
failure.
did already.
Uh-oh.
You failed?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh dear. I hope not. Well, this would have been joyful sight, and you would have regained one hope.
Dang it.
But sadly, okay, just it's a big dummy.
You will be more
Oh, it's
hydrated.
wonderful. I love it. Okay, so you're kind of continuing to journey, and at a certain point, like Gilly, you're constantly kind of keeping an eye out for more signs of these flowers, for more signs of any sort of dangers that might be lurking. And at one point, like as you're settling down in the evening, you kind of look off, and as you're going to sleep, you see like in the distance the way the moonlight is kind of coming down, the way kind of maybe your eyes are just sort of growing foggy or whatever. You almost see like this, what looks like a home, like on the ridge of a hill. It gives you this sort of familiarity with some of the homes in like Stadel and around Bree and such, like homes clearly built by kind of hobbits. They have this kind of in the side of the hills sort of sense to it, and like and maybe at night you go to bed with a little bit of this sort of this intense feeling of home, and you kind of feel a comfort to it. But in the morning, as you all pass, you notice that it's not actually a home. And when you cross and move towards the next hill, you see it is just an utterly destroyed and sort of decimated ruin of some sort of structure. Like, you're not exactly sure with the ruins, but there's nothing that really kind of gives it away. And you can see that those white flowers are kind of covering it all over the place. And instead of feeling, this sort of hopefulness and warmth from it, you instead kind of fades away as you realize that someone might have lived here at some point, or maybe this was used for something else. But what of these flowers suggests that their fate was such that was probably fairly negative, and like any kind of sense of positivity sort of fades away. But the bright side is that it's fairly simple travel, and despite the fact that you're getting into the foothills now of the Ettenmoors, and you can feel the elevation beginning to rise, but it's doing so in a somewhat gentle way. Floy, I need you to make another travel test.
And we need to be hydrated for a third time.
A third? What?
A
Who's
third.
got-
Yeah,
Yep. Third.
we're getting
Cheers.
waterboarded.
Wow. Great success on that. Okay. This time, it's, you know what? I'm re-rolling this. It's been Ashley twice. I'm gonna do a different one. Who's doing explore? Who's this? Who's the scout?
That's Floy, right? You're the
I think so,
hunter?
yeah.
All right, Floy. Roll an explore test.
I am theoretically the hunter.
You'll get it.
Success.
Sorry, I'm getting like the weirdest like. Let's do that. Maybe that works. Sorry, I'm getting like a weird error on Foundry.
No, no worries.
It's
I feel like
telling
this has
me-
become a very kind of drudgy kind of walk. Like,
yes.
you know, we had that time, and you know, like we learned some stuff and like had some fun, and now it's just been like, you know, we
Wrap
had some
up.
pep in our step, and I feel
Mhm.
like that's worn off at this
Well,
point.
and just
it's
seeing all of these flowers of these graves that we're walking
Mhm.
past, and then like the mist has settled into our clothes, everything's damp. You know, ugh,
Yeah.
yeah.
it's like you never quite dry out, and you never quite like nothing seems to be going quite right. It's
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm getting the weirdest error. It's like not letting me roll on my table. It's like fail to draw an available entry from table journey events table. Maximum
Oh.
iteration received. Like what? This makes no
Oh.
sense. So I'm just gonna roll a d12.
hey
Plus
Pat, good to see
Hey
you.
Pat, what's going on? All right. So once again, as you guys are starting to climb atop the foothills themselves, and like there are numerous like as you're kind of pathing by now, like these craggy rocks are beginning to emerge. Everything's kind of turning, like the landscape is becoming this sort of gray malaise here and there. Mist is rolling up, and it seems to kind of climb up the slopes as well, and it becomes this very, very slow, like you're saying, like trudging ground. And multiple times you guys feel yourself just sort of slip and fall, and you watch like Gilly tumble down a few steps, and she has to kind of get herself back up, dust herself off, and climb. Floyd, the same thing. And at a certain point you just feel your wound just begin to sort of ache at times, and that kind of slows you down in your progress. And it's then that you look around and you realize someone's missing something. You're looking around and you realize like your bed rolls, like you're somewhere along the way they kind of fell off your packs. You look at Root and you look at Beat, and you can see the straps on both of them have just kind of decayed. The sogginess from all the fog and the mist each morning has just made it so that kind of imbued the different strings and straps, and like stuff just sort of swelled and eventually snapped. And you realize you have to spend the whole day just going back and trudging and having to like re-pick up all of this. In the process of doing so, though, you all, like, as you're settling down for the evening and you're getting ready to, after you've finally gone back and collected your things, you all hear what sort of sounds like the heavy blast of this sort of like war horn or something similar, like in the distance somewhere. And it's like you look around, like it doesn't have the sounds of like, say, like an orcish war horn, and it's very faint and it's very kind of foggy. And then you hear like this like thundering, like thundering to the earth, and the earth kind of begins to shake beneath you. Like you look at your cups where you're keeping your tea or your water, and it's doing the classic Jurassic Park vibration rumble. You can see that your ponies are beginning to get a little bit unnerved. You can see rocks are now beginning to occasionally trickle down the slopes, and then you hear what sounds just like thunderous hooves of horses, like the strongest horse you can imagine just galloping, and then it's echoed by another, and then another, and then another, and then another. And you look around in every single direction, and you look for any signs whatsoever of this, you think, pack of horses. And then finally you see like this massive just mist, just a wave just sweeping down the foothills and across, and you can see that just the way the kind of the cloud and the mist is moving, almost these shapes of horses themselves are coming, and it sweeps through and around your camp. You can see your horses or your ponies themselves are like ripping away at like the leads that you have tied to different boulders and rocks. I need all of you to go ahead and make a valor test.
Anybody want any?
Well,
Take one.
What is Valor test again?
It's just the Valor.
Oh.
Click on Valor, man.
Got
You
it.
ask that every time, like Valor. Every single time.
Oh my gosh. I cannot pass anything tonight.
Good.
Fair.
I got a great success.
Okay. Everybody but Gilly. So Arenio, Floyd, go ahead and take a point of shadow as you see swarming around and through and over your camp. You see what looks like these empty spirits of man and horse, just these tattered banners that seem to be almost kind of glistening with like this glowing mist. It's just sort of sweeping left and right. You hear sort of distant shouts of people like yelling commands. You suddenly start to hear the tink, 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 tink of weapons kind of crossing, and you see no signs of sort of anything physical. You start sweeping around like with your torches or stuff like that, like with the history you have with undead, but nothing really seems to really react to you. And this goes on for like you're like caught within the middle of some kind of battle on the slopes of a mountain for an hour, maybe more. And eventually like the trembling begins to fade, the sounds begin to fade, the war horn blasts start to go away, and when you look around, your entire camp has been utterly and unequivocally trampled. All of your stuff is broken, it's damaged, as if a real live stampede of horses has kind of come through. Nothing is broken beyond repair, of course, but the next day you find yourselves having not much slept at all. You find yourselves have to expend all this extra energy and time as once again like the sort of ghosts of the past are kind of haunting you each time. Everyone go ahead and take 2 points of fatigue. The good news, despite this extra time that you have to spend, is that you have finally, you don't even have to roll this next time, Flo. You finally reached your destination. You have reached what you are clearly is the sort of the foothills, the southwestern foothills of Mount Grom. Now, as you're climbing, they stop becoming foothills and they start becoming proper mountains, and you're like kind of searching for any signs of like well-worn like animal paths, and you see like a mountain ram here or there, and you try as best you can to navigate the same paths it's taking. You see eagles periodically swooping around high overhead, but overall, like the whole place gives this sort of sad feel to it. Like everything's gray and sort of desaturated. There's cold winds that are sweeping down. It feels like winter here. Like there's sunlight that never seems to get through this massive fog. Everything that you've gone through as you've trudged through the hills of Rudaur is like amplified even more now. And like as you continue to climb up the slopes of this mountain, you can see that there's some sort of sparse, like hardy vegetation and sort of foliage around, but there's again not a whole lot of color, and you find yourself like whipping out and pulling out all of your winter clothing. But you look and you stare up from your readings and your descriptions of the mountain itself, the peak. You can see off to the east as the Ettenmoors kind of sweep easternly and southeasternly, but you see that kind of northwesternly mountain, the peak along the range, and you all have reached your destination. What would you like to do?
I don't even feel any joy at getting here. I mean, usually if I have somewhere to go and I get there, I'm happy to have arrived, but this was the worst bit of travel I've ever done, I think.
It's a dark and dreadful place.
Over.
I think we knew that coming up here.
It's one thing to know it in your mind, and it's another thing to walk through it and freeze and be cold and damp and
Right.
fearful.
It's hopeful thinking, but did plan to meet up with Thorin.
We did.
I have this necklace, and so she's been, it's kind of the only thing that she's had is, sort of Talendil's daughter's necklace that she's
Mhm.
had around her neck that we need to find the tree to hang this on.
Sure. It's not a tree. You were looking for a ruined tower.
That's right. That's right. A tower.
Yeah. Okay. So we are actually. So the journey phase is over. So let's do like the closing journey phase stuff. So I forgot to do this last time. So at the end of a journey phase, we assess how much of that fatigue sticks. Is essentially what's happening. So let me pull those rules back up. Sorry, I had to reload. I'm getting weird errors on Foundry right now.
So
Okay,
folks that have mounts, you subtract the mount's vigor from your current fatigue total.
And then everyone makes a travel test. So everyone make a travel test.
All right. I'm going to take one of these because I would like to pass a roll today.
And then for each so if you succeed, it reduces fatigue by 1, and then each additional success icon, you can get rid of another point of fatigue.
So Aurelio got a great success.
Okay, so you should be able to get rid of 2 points of
I
fatigue.
failed.
Floy and Gilly, both of yours
Mhm.
sticks.
Ooh.
So you're still feeling that. So Reniel, your ranger background probably helps you a bit. And so you can go ahead and record it. Like I guess it sticks.
Okay.
Okay.
Finally.
And you can recover that at 1 point of fatigue per prolonged rest you take in a sheltered and safe refuge. So you want to look for this keep, you said, right?
Yes.
All
Yeah.
right. How would you like to go about doing that?
So sort of to RP that, I feel like, kind of Floy reminded, that we have things to do. And I think that helped Aureliel to remember that she's got the necklace and kind of got somewhere to go. Aureliel always likes to kind of try to get, I don't know if it's going to work here, but kind of try to get a high ground. So try to find like a tree or something to kind of scale up.
You're on a mountain and there's not really many trees around, so like you like to get height, it's really just kind of climbing up higher is basically what could potentially work for you. Okay, so why don't you go ahead and roll like an athletics to start kind of looking for potential cliffs or ledges that you might be able to get a decent sight line at. So go ahead and roll athletics as you try to climb up in a somewhat more treacherous, less gradual climb, like you're just doing almost like a vertical climb up the side of a mountain to a top of a cliff here or there, or
and
to
I'm
the
gonna
edge.
Spend a hope point to say that I'm doing this swiftly.
Okay.
So that'll get me 2. Extra 32. Extraordinary success.
Floy and Gilly, as you all are, the two of you are kind of a little exhausted. You're here, you're kind of, maybe you're even like, you're doing the classic thing of like kind of getting ready for 11Zs, and like Aureniel just kind of, you just watch as she just parkours up the side of what looks like a relatively vertical climb. a lot of this mount, it's not like just one general slope, but there's a lot of these like kind of vertical leaps. There's these gullies, there are these like long ravines. More than once you nearly fall down a few, and maybe you lose like your lunch down one at some point. But you watch as Iriniel just climbs what almost is like about a 50-foot climb, and she just swoops on up there. And eventually you get up, Iriniel, and you're kind of scoping around, and you're looking along kind of the sort of the southwestern side of the slope. You're as best you can. Not everything is completely visible, but you get a good look. Go ahead and roll awareness probably, or something else if you prefer.
Okay. I will take one of our fellowship to
Okay.
roll that at advantage, so we're at 4. Oh gosh, that's a failure.
Okay. Yeah, you look around and you don't see any signs of any kind of clear ruins. It was described to you as a ruined tower, like a formerly like a watchtower of some kind, or like a lookout post, and you don't see anything that would resemble that, even one that has been taken down to ruin. You do catch sight of what looks like you probably think that you have to sort of swoop around more to the western slopes. Like you're still a little bit kind of bearing on the southern side of the mountain, and it might take an extra day or so to kind of swoop around. But as you're looking, you do notice that there are some ravines here and there, these like kind of cuts into the mountain that might be shortcuts. And so you think you pick up what might be like a shorter route through as sort of like this rocky ravine that might take you like more quickly to the western side, rather than having to backtrack down the foothills and like swoop all the way around for an extra day or two's worth of travel. So at the very least you see that, but you don't see anything that suggests, and you also don't see any signs of like cloth, fluttering as a sign from Thor.
No colorful tarp.
No
I was looking
colorful
for
tarp.
that too.
No, sorry. But that's all you find is a potential like mountain pass that might be a shortcut.
And so I'd like to think she goes back down just as swiftly as she came up to rejoin Gilly and Floy.
You could do it even swifter if you just jump.
Well, no.
It's fine. So yeah,
Okay.
she rejoined you all, and that's what she learned.
I think there's a way that we can cut through. We need to make sure that we find a good place to hang our tarp as well.
Like lead the way.
Or west.
Just rolling in. Okay. You start now. You have been warned that these are sort of dangerous area, right? You've been warned of trolls. You've been warned of orcs. You've been warned of goblins. Like, so as you're, I'm just kind of, this isn't so much like a journey roll. So just I keep thinking of like, there's this Pathfinder 2nd edition rule I really like. It's just like as you're exploring, like what is it your character is like doing, like in the time. Like, are you looking for a careful path? Are you keeping an eye out for danger? Like what is it you're doing as you're continuing to like kind of move through this mountain pass? Like what is everyone's focus paid attention to as you journey in this dangerous area?
Floy will be looking for like possible ambush points. Maybe there's people hidden behind some trees, mountain parts.
It sounds like an awareness for Floy. Gilly, what are you doing as this is happening?
She'll probably keep a lookout for like hints of like the dwarves.
Okay.
Or just like general signs of life.
Okay. Awareness or scan, whichever you
Okay.
prefer. Dealer's choice or player's choice. An Iriniel, are you just kind of leading them through?
Yeah, I was thinking that I wanted to, kind of be mindful of footing. So, trying to make sure that we're, kind of helping the ponies move through and kind of helping us through. So like my eyes are definitely kind of down. Kind of that when you're, on a hike or something, it's like, oh, look out for that. Or, kind of making sure that nobody is like kind of losing their footing as their eyes are up looking for other things. She's kind of making sure we've got good footing.
Maybe like an explorer. You can do awareness too if you want. Like either one of those is probably fine.
Okay.
All right, everyone go ahead and roll. We'll see how this goes.
We've got 3 d6s left, and we've got 4 fellowship left if anybody wants it.
I'll take a
So-
d6.
Some inspired hope with my wary trait.
Yes, that sounds perfect. Yeah, so you're tapping into one of your distinctive features.
I'm going to take a fellowship to get favored.
Okay.
Success.
Okay, everyone straight across success. All of you ended up just rolling awareness. No, that's no fun, guys. Switch it up. Jeez. Okay.
Oh, oops.
Like, okay. So more than once, like definitely the footing issue is a serious problem, especially as you start going further and further into this mountain pass, which you're certain Aurinial is a shortcut. You're certain this is going to take you to the western side of the mountain more quickly than if you were to just sort of sweep around the southern edges. However, you also notice that there's tons of these like small caves that sort of shift off into the, kind of almost tunneling down into the mountain, or kind of these ledges on the sides of the pass here and there where there's openings from time to time, and it starts to give you kind of a little bit of a nervousness to it. More than once you see movement, but as you look up, you notice that most of it seems to be these like eagles that just sort of swoop down, and you even hear like a sound from time to time. But more often than not, like you just feel the dribbling of like dirt or rocks. Floy, since you're using your wary trait, you're the first to hear this, but shortly thereafter, all of you hear it as well. Like, and maybe Floy is somewhat out in front, but you hear and you hear it kind of echoing down from like further inward this path. And as you peek ahead, Floy, you look and you see a fire, like this like kind of crude fire pit. You can tell that as the pass continues to go deeper and deeper, you can see that ledges of the mountain itself kind of almost begins to fold over top of it, to the point where like it's just almost dark in this pass, and you're just kind of going through the like no real sunlight is getting in here, between the fog, between the kind of the cloud cover, and then now between the mountain just sort of swooping over top of it. Like, it's a very, very dark. It's like it's like nighttime down here, and then you see the flickering fire, and you hear do 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 bang boom, and you see a figure up ahead, Floy, that seems to be laboring at some kind of cook pot. And you recognize this as a troll of some kind. And they're kind of up on a ledge off on the northern side of the pass. They haven't noticed the three of you yet, as you've been able to keep at a distance, and none of you have yet kind of struck a match or a torch or a lantern, as you're just now kind of getting into this dark passageway. But you can see kind of flickering up ahead the light, and what is clearly a troll from the light that's coming from the fire. What do you guys want to do?
Got a troll up ahead. Maybe it's best to go around him. This is his home. There's territory advantage. Don't know if there's more of them.
You know for sure from what you've heard that this like between Mount Grom and the Ettenmoors, trolls are common on these mountains.
Got it. Okay.
We need to take a wide berth.
Is there inside this area? Is it like able for us to make a wide berth, or should we go back and down and around?
So you could I would say probably the three options you have are: you can try and sneak past in the darkness. You can try to kind of climb over top and kind of go up and over the pass. Or you can kind of backtrack and just sort of take the really long route and around, like kind of go back eastward and then turn back south and then swoop all there. And that would take the longest amount of time. Climbing up would be somewhat treacherous, as it means kind of bringing the ponies a little bit further up, but it would also, you would be able to continue to use the shortcut. And then there's the danger of trying to sneak past in the darkness, this sort of narrow mountain pass. And so those are probably the three options in front of you, but I'm open to other ideas if you all can think of one.
Aurinial would say we could totally take the higher elevation.
Gilly would prefer to sneak.
I also would like to sneak.
Oh, definitely. I was assuming we were sneaking. Just
Okay.
the.
Well, I meant like
Once
like
through
sneaking.
darkness.
Yeah, through the dark. I think that's what they meant. Is that what you guys
Yeah.
meant? Trying to
Yeah,
take
that's what
we
meant.
use the darkness as cover. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of climbing over.
Yeah.
I mean, if it leads the same way, you could take the top way.
I.
Split the party.
No.
I meant. Yeah, split the party. That sounds like a good idea. That's pretty clever.
Oh well. Go the way you two want to go.
Okay.
Auriniel did such a good job climbing to the top earlier. She's like, I've totally got this. But
Yeah, I got tiny legs, okay? You can't expect that from me.
Do you bring the ponies with you in your attempt to sneak through the darkened mountain pass by the stroll?
Oh no. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Can't leave them behind.
Yeah.
I can
That's gonna-
I can guarantee if you left them behind, you're never seeing them ponies again.
we
true.
know.
Yeah.
We know the fate of horses in our adventuring.
Okay, so since you guys are sneaking, everyone go ahead and roll. Everyone's gonna roll for stealth. 2 people, and I don't care who, are gonna have to take a penalty die, as there's gonna be 2 because you have 2 ponies, and so 2 people are gonna have to be leading them and kind of keeping them quiet, and so whoever's doing that will take a penalty die. So there should be 2 people of the 3 that's gonna be taking a penalty die.
Yeah.
Auriniel doesn't have a pony. So I don't know if that's how this is working.
That's just a minus D6.
Yeah, it's minus D6.
Okay.
All right,
Hold
go
on.
ahead. And
So
roll.
I have the art of disappearing.
Oh,
So hobbits are said to have little or no magic about them, but the way that they choose to disappear quickly and quietly can be described as others as only as supernatural. So if a location or a situation offers even the smallest opportunity to hide or sneak silently away, make a stealth roll. If I get 1 or more success icon, I can spend 1 to simply just kind of disappear. Okay, I'm just keeping that in my brain.
It's just a benefit you get from. You still have to roll this. You still have to roll the
Yes,
test.
yeah, I
So-
know. I'm still rolling. I wanted to remember.
you're
yeah.
good at this.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
The one weird kind of complication with that is that if you're leading a pony, like you might disappear, but your
My pony
pony
won't.
isn't going to disappear.
Yeah,
so it's
yeah.
like that pony's just being led by an invisible creature. All right. So yeah, go ahead and
We've got-
roll 'em.
2d6s and 3 fellowship left.
My thing's already favored, so if I could get a D6
Long you anything?
to negate my negative D6.
Yeah, I'll take the D6 to negate as well.
All right, we are all out of d6s, so I'll take a fellowship to make it favored.
Oh, just passed.
Wow, Ashley.
Oh
that
my
was
God.
close. All right. Up to Auriniel now.
Oh no. That's like I cannot roll today.
So, as you guys are moving through this darkened mountain pass, and like there's a lot of undulation in the rock here and there, and you're trying to be very, very careful. And you're like in Floy and Gilly, you're lingering back probably a little bit further than Auriniel because you got the ponies to get to, and like you turn around, kind of pet them here and there. You can tell they get nervous because they're literally going into essentially darkness with a little bit of a flickering light, and this sound of like a troll smashing and almost humming something while he smashes, right? And Auriniel, you get a little bit further ahead, and Floy and Gilly, you lose sight of her because as the further you go in, kind of the only light that really kind of starts to blend around is the light that's giving out by the fire. And so there's a little bit of time between when you enter into this pass and where the fire really kind of comes out and covers the rocky terrain, and you lose sight of her for a moment. And I mean, part of you probably think that's a good thing, right? And then you hear it. You hear just the stumbling and the cacophony of these different sounds of metal weapons and tools and equipment and snowshoes that just go slapping down as Auriniel, you are moving up and you're trying to climb up and over this sort of grouping of these rocks, and you just slip and you fall and you tumble, and immediately you hear and I'm gonna go ahead and pull you guys onto a map as Iriniel, as you're falling down onto the ground,
Yep.
you see the troll over by the over by that cook pot. Grrr! And you see, whoa, hungry. And just kind of throws a bone in your direction. So let's go to a map.
Oh, this is bad.
Could have gotten past it.
Very bad.
Easily could have gotten past it.
Not with my rolls today. I'm not.
So let me just
do very much.
Move this up a little bit. All right, there we go. Let me pull you over. All right.
At least I have +2 protection now on my leather shirt.
Sure. Let me go ahead and. All right,
you even gave the troll stinky flies on his token.
I don't know what
the
those
eye
are.
to detail.
You're seeing things. You're seeing things, Ashley. I think that's actually dirt just kind of fluttering about.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put all of you in a combat state. I'm going to say because, Iriniel, you failed and stumbled, I'm going to say you lose your opening volley. Sure. So I'm gonna say you've stumbled down to the ground and you're kind of recovering, and you were almost making it to the edge, and you were kind of trying to climb over top of that kind of, instead of sort of sneaking around. And the two of you, Gilly and Floy, you were a little bit further back with your ponies, and you were trying to sort of catch up a little bit, and you were just coming to the edge of where the kind of fire was. And so Floy and Gilly, the two of you, if you want to do something, you can have your opening volley now.
Nice. I'll just chuck a spear in his direction.
Okay, so from the darkness, you're going to chuck a spear in its direction. Go ahead.
Iriniel's very silently hurt and trying to,
just flies past him.
Yeah, the moment that Gilly realizes that Iriniel's cover has been blown, she's like, "Oh no!" And
the troll definitely goes, "More meat," and kind of starts looking, throws a bone in the direction of Iriniel and kind of smashes it against the rock right near your head, and it explodes. Floy, you quickly try to chuck a spear up at the troll, and it misses. It's sort of a tight shot, and you still the light is a little tricky on your eyes from where you're at. And then Gilly, right next to him, you do this sort of the same thing.
I actually think I got bumped by the horse that was that I was leading, and that totally throws off my shot.
All right, so that is the end of opening volley. No hits anywhere. Let's do stances. How we doing? What are you guys thinking?
I'd like to be ranged. But it won't let me change it.
You should be able to, because that issue only should happen if you're not.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah,
I think maybe because I was in opening volley.
Well, yeah, you're not in opening volley anymore. I triggered that. That's what happened last time. Is I wasn't moving the combat forward. Okay. So Iriniel and Gilly, set your stances. Iriniel, what do you got?
Oh, what do I want to do? I'll do open.
Okay.
This is gonna be some bold flavor.
All right. So I'm gonna tell you that this thing, because it really saw Iriniel and because neither of you actually hit it, it's just gonna kind of charge and engage with Iriniel, I think. So let's go ahead and sort of say that in terms of engaging, this thing's going to stomp down the rocks in the direction of where Iriniel had fallen and catch right up to you as you're just standing up from it. And so that's where you're at. Gilly and Floy, because you're a little bit further back, you're probably going to end up having to spend your main action to sort of charge in. Floy, I should say. Gilly, you're probably still fine. But Floy, you're probably going to have to spend your first action of combat kind of... Actually, no, because opening volley suggests you're closing the distance. So if we say, you moved up a couple steps and then fired, we can say now you can probably kind of close the distance on your first round. So Floy, you go charging in, and you hear the troll... but go ahead and roll your attack, Floy.
Yeah. Bring up my axe two-handed.
Oh,
Start off with Gandalf with extraordinary.
Okay.
wow.
Double heavy blows here
Okay. Oh goodness.
for 21 damage.
21
Oh my
points of
gosh.
damage.
Piercing
Roy.
as well.
Okay.
It's been a while since I've had Trill.
You said it's a piercing blow, so I got to roll protection.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just seeing if I have anything to help with piercing blows. I do not.
Oh no.
Okay. Troll is wounded, but it's not gonna go down yet, actually. So it takes 1 wound. Oh goodness. And what was the total damage? 21?
21 damage.
My gosh.
Okay. So that's holding it. It's still up. But yeah, you come like just leaping off of this ledge in the mountain pass. Like he doesn't see you until you're like "Roar," as you're doing the classic Floyd flying through the air technique, and it turns to the last second, "Roar," and it smashes itself right on top of you. Okay, Aurenial, it's your turn.
Okay, so Aurenial is, kind of is coming more from the kind of like, fell on her ass, is kind of, wind knocked out of her. So she's kind of coming more in sort of like an upward motion as she's standing up.
Mm-hmm.
And so she is going to use her keen short sword to try to attack this.
Stab him.
Oh goodness. Oh, that's no good. Sorry, I'm just like I have like a really nice ability, but I can't even. It's like it totally made moot at this point because of Foy. Oh goodness.
Oh gosh.
Because of Floyd just getting the wound off right off the bat. That sucks. Go ahead, Renew.
Sorry, it's not.
Target it.
Oh yeah, that's.
Double click.
Okay, I am targeting it, and now I gotta come over here.
As the keyboard shortcut as well. That's what I do. A lot.
There we go.
All
All right, so I got a success. It's a keen sword, and I rolled a 10.
Okay, so I need to.
Piercing blow.
You guys might kill this thing before it even gets a chance.
Oh goodness.
And that's exactly what you guys do as it fails its protection roll. And
Oh my gosh.
I can't do anything about it. Yeah, describe how the two of you figure this out. How you just destroy this thing, because it could take 2 wounds effectively. Oh my god. How's this look? So describe it to us.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm. I didn't even
Yeah,
get
so
it hit
Floyd,
off.
I just come charging out of the darkness. It's been months I've had taken down a Trill. I just come charging with my axe, just all fury, and do a bunch of slashes on his legs.
And Aurenial just, kind of comes, shoot just really like an upward stab. And so like this is much more kind of like center mass gut sort of kind of like an underhanded
Yeah.
strike.
Floyd comes flying through the air, and it kind of just like, and then like you manage to avoid it as like you're leaping through the darkness, Floyd, and then you get down, you like tumble, roll on the ground, slash at its leg. It's like reaches down for you, and as it's reaching down, Aurelian, you just take that upward motion, and like between the two of you, just like 100 cuts right off the bat, and like in the blink of an eye, this troll just flops to the ground as you both score 2 brutal wounds. That will take it out. Only because they were wounds, by the way. That's the only reason it was dead, because it still had plenty of endurance. But because of the wounds, you two just killed it. My gosh.
Gilly
Crazy.
like wanders up after she hears it fall with just
Dear
like the
God,
both
guys.
horses.
Yeah. All
Yeah,
those
the
bad rolls before they turned around this time.
There you go.
So what are
Gilly,
the cool things that it could have done if we hadn't killed it?
I'm not going to tell you that. There's a whole mountain full of these
There are
things.
other
Yeah,
trolls.
there's
Yeah,
trolls.
this ain't the last one we're going to run into. Gilly, go ahead and roll an awareness test.
Okay.
Wow, that is like fantastic. You guys just beat the crap out of this troll. That's how, yeah, you're right, Rod. That's how it goes. It's all good, but good for them. Gotta be a fan of the players.
Automatic success.
I don't want to be, but I'm going to.
Hey, we're friends.
We are friends. We're best friends. You hear, as like the troll that you just killed, like was screaming like, more for dinner, all making all these noises. It's not being silent, and it's echoing throughout the mountain pass. You hear behind you, Gilly. You hear the sounds of what you say, and you hear something moving about in the darkness behind you, and you hear the sounds of footsteps. You're pretty sure there's another troll back there down in one of these kind of caves that shifts down into like, what you say? It's not immediately on you, but it's kind of up to you what you want to do. Like, so you have, like, you could conceivably just get the hell out of Dodge. You could set an ambush. Like, it's kind of up to you guys what you want to do.
I think we just hurry out of here.
Yeah.
On our blessings.
Okay.
Let's
Okay,
get
so
going.
if you guys just want to hurry and go, then it's totally, because you killed it so fast, no rolls necessary. You guys grab your ponies and you just go. And it's maybe like 100 yards like further into the pass, you hear like, no, what happened to you? And then it's just like, oh, meat. And then and that's like the last you hear as like you guys manage to leave this pass. That was pretty amazing.
That
2
oh my
wounds
gosh.
right off the bat. That's
That roll, Floy.
those things get to attack twice. I have like a fun little endurance thing I can do. Like there's lots of little things.
We remember they attacked twice.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna split it up. I was gonna give one to each of them. It's only fair, you know. And it's like they do, like, trolls do get like what's it called? Favored when they attack dwarves, though. It's kind of like a hated because we fought a troll actually. Yeah, we fought a troll in the squad. That's right.
Yep.
Yeah. That was like our first combat, right? And I
That was
played it incorrectly. I screwed a couple things up, but like it's fine.
No.
It wasn't anything like too serious. You guys did fine. Because I think I wasn't rolling certain things at favor. All right. Anyway, you guys managed to bypass this mountain pass, and you know it's maybe about another hour or so before you finally emerge from the darkness. And as you do, Rinial, you notice probably about 1.5 miles off to the west, you see what would best be described as a ruined tower, and you can tell that it doesn't have a whole lot of height to it anymore, but from where you're at, which is a little bit further up because you guys kind of climbed a bit and now you're looking down about 1.5 miles away to the west, a little bit further down a very treacherous looking slope. You can see what looks like a fairly flat edifice, and from it you can see this tower. The ruins of a tower have emerged. What would you guys like to do? God, that was awesome.
That
was awesome.
We're in combat. We're out of combat.
Yep. I don't know why I made a map for that. I didn't actually make that map. That was a found map. What do you guys want to do?
So Iridial's going to, because we've been kind of moving away fairly swiftly and quietly, and so she's just gonna, just kind of tap both of them and, just point over and, see she kind of rubs her, the necklace that she's got.
Yeah, because we were told to find the ruins, hang the necklace up, and then don't
Wait.
camp at the ruins, but to
Correct.
camp somewhere nearby, like a safe space.
Exactly correct. Yes,
Yeah.
Good memory. Good notes. Okay. So yeah, you see the ruins. It's a treacherous decline down the slope, but none that you probably can't handle at this point. And by the time you get down there, you can tell it's nearing sunset between moving about when you first arrive, between climbing up and looking for a vision, between going through the mountain pass and the trolls and stuff like that. It's been a while, and the days seem shorter because of the time of the year, but they also seem shorter just the gray nature of the area. But you're able to arrive at the tower before sunset is concluded. When you get there, like, you can see that the tower itself is like, it's again like this kind of flat rocky edifice, and as you get closer you realize it's kind of extended sort of away from the slope on like a kind of a flat extension to the point where it almost looks like it's sitting kind of a top of a cliff that overlooks the continued sloping downward of the mountain itself. It looks also like there is like this mountain stream that's kind of cutting around the northern side of it and sort of sweeping a bit and kind of weaving. You can even hear the sort of faint sounds of water kind of moving. When you look down, it looks very icy, very cold. You can even see like what looks like buildup of some little ice particles here and there, as you can feel, again, it feels like winter. It looks like there was likely some kind of stair that possibly like led up into it, and then it almost looks like there was a walkway from where the tower actually was to that stair. The walkway still seems to be intact, but like the actual stair that would like kind of reach down, and there's the signs of what looks like some old cobblestones here and there, as if like this particular area wasn't like a civilization or anything, but like this was like an established outpost. What do you guys want to do?
Maybe I would scan around, see if anything is lingering in the area.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, awareness is good. See, awareness is like I think of awareness as like keeping an eye out for danger. I think of scan as looking for hidden things. That's kind of how I think that's how it's written, but that's how it is in my head. If I'm wrong, you can correct me, of course.
No, awareness is kind of more passive and scan is active.
Scan is like actively looking for something that's hidden. Awareness is sort of just kind of keeping your eyes peeled for potential dangers or issues. Okay. What do so Floyd's looking around for dangers. Gilly, Aurenial, what are you doing? You can see you can there's even though the stair has kind of crumbled, like there's still an incline that kind of moves up towards the path itself, and then you can easily kind of like cross over and into the tower. It doesn't look too difficult to climb up there or anything like that. It wouldn't require a roll or anything.
Yeah, Gilly will, if Aurenial's going up to hang up the thing, she'll go with her, because any like ancient ruin place, Gilly doesn't think we should go alone.
Okay, fair enough. All right, so you can see it kind of like you have to almost kind of go underneath this broken path, like it's almost like an overhang, and you swirl around and you climb up the other side, and then you walk across this sort of stone walkway, and eventually you make it inside. And inside the ruin, there's not a whole lot here. There definitely looks like signs of old camps, but nothing at all recent. No signs of recent fire or something like that. But you can tell somebody in the past has likely made camp here. You can see what definitely looks like long, sort of eroded, like bedrolls and things like that, and wood that kind of turned ash here and there and swept around from the wind. There's no roof anymore. It looks like there's a broken wooden stair that was likely going up to a second level, but the stone walls have collapsed and it's definitely not possible anymore. You definitely see bones as well. It's hard to tell exactly what from. You imagine maybe animals are here or there. There's looks like several like long rusted weapons and tools, and these broken bits of old crates or barrels or some kind as well, similar, kind of in some cases turned to ash or just blackened. And you also notice there's a bunch of like these erratic carvings here and there on some of the stone walls. And so you see like little things kind of carved and sketched in, almost like graffiti in some way, like these messages. Reniel, you can make a riddle test, and you can do this favored.
Oh, riddle, you say?
Yeah.
Goodness. Oh.
It's like thieves can't, but for rangers.
Okay.
But it's old and kind of difficult to discern.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Eye of Sauron.
It's okay. I mean, you can't discern anything more specifically than they just seem like warnings. Like that's it. It just seems like warnings from one person to the next. Like there might have been more specific things in there, but maybe the stone is kind of worn away and you've lost some of it, and you haven't actually really engaged in this kind of sort of communication recently. You've been working so much with Floy and Gilly, so maybe you've kind of lost your edge a bit. but you can make it's enough to make out warnings, like there's trolls and wargs and orcs and stuff and things like that, but nothing more than that.
And Aurelio, when she, kind of gets a sense, she's just sort of absentmindedly gonna just sort of kind of touch the hilt of her short sword, just kind of like proud of herself that we took out that so quickly. Like, we're okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so Gilly's gonna look for like a good place to like hang the necklace from.
Yeah, you can see that there's a couple, the stonework isn't supreme here, and there's some
Yeah.
that jut out significantly. You can easily kind of hang it atop there, or there's like these old metal hooks where likely weapons or tools hung, or lanterns or something like that. You can find a place to hang it. And Aurelial, you can even probably carve in some sort of crude message. You don't notice any recent messages. Like all of the carving seems kind of old and worn. Nothing at all within the last few months or a year. Much the stone definitely doesn't look like it's been disturbed too much recently.
Yeah, Aurelio will kind of hang that and just, kind of to Gilly, just sort of say like, just to kind of talk about like what we think this used to look like. Just kind of like, oh, kind of room, like that room, maybe that was where, because this is like a tower area.
It used to be. It was definitely a lookout tower of some kind.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, and Gilly's more so. We need to find a good place to sleep.
Okay.
It's cold.
So you hang the necklace and you scratch in some kind of basic message, and then you journey off. And they said like stay within like a mile or two of it, and she will find you, right?
Yeah, and we'll use kind of the lookout tower to see if we can look for something while we're
Again, it doesn't. It's literally like maybe 7-8 feet up. Like it's not a lookout tower anymore. It's crumbled. Everything's kind of crumbled down into it. But you're able to kind of scout around and look for some decent, campsite. You look for somewhere that's going to kind of break the wind in some way. So you can try to find like a face of the mountain to sort of push yourselves up against, or a series of rocks. And fire, no fire, fire, no fire, fire, no fire,
no fire.
Fire. Okay. I got disagree. I'll tell you this, like it's very, very, very cold. So like
Yeah,
you're
Gilly
feeling it in
doesn't.
your bones. It's almost
Yeah.
winter. Like we're closing in on Yule actually. So yeah. It's up to you guys.
2 to 1
Gilly-
sounds like.
Gilly wants a fire.
All
Got
right, fire goes up. And you
Sleeping
all
in shifts, the usual,
Okay. Who takes the first shift?
Gilly can.
Okay. Make an awareness roll. And make it with 1 penalty die. So it's very, very dark
Penalty.
and cold. And you hear all manner of strange beasts and sounds. Horns and howls. Sounds of moving rock.
That's a
All manner
failure.
of things. Okay. See? Red side, best side. Make a smokeless fire. Totally. Okay. Gilly, as you're on your, what are you doing when you're on your watch, by the way? Like, what is it you're doing to idly spend your time?
Gilly has 2 in craft, so I like to think maybe she likes to like whittle away at sticks. Like, she's not very good at like carving anything yet, but like
Sure.
she's working on it. She
Okay.
remembered seeing the statue that Oswald had, and she kind of just attempts to create something similar, but it's really awful.
So as you're carving, kind of focusing, maybe you put a little too much attention into the carving and not enough attention into the awareness. And again, you hear the sounds of like distant, animals and maybe orc or troll horns or something like that. The sounds of stuff falling down from the mountain. You look over and you can see like a rock kind of thumps down nearby. You just kind of continue to go at it. You hear the wind just sort of whistling as you've made camp amongst a couple different boulders right beneath what looks like a kind of a fairly vertical edifice. Gilly, you hear the sounds of footsteps in like the gravelly almost icy stone nearby. And like then you hear another set, and then another set, and they're moving quite quickly, and you start to hear like movement all around you.
Oh, she'll wake them up.
And as you kind of reach over and go to wake up Floy, you watch as, just beginning to slowly encroach upon the brightness of the fire, you see light eyes kind of begin to glow back, one from the south, kind of one from over to the east in the shadow of the mountainside, one from like the west, one kind of almost sort of northward where you have the ponies kind of tied up next to this old ruin. And you see another set of eyes begin to crawl on top of this rock in front of you. And you see a massive warg kind of just stand up, and you hear it like kind of howl and growl. And all of a sudden, all around you, there's a pack of 5 wargs that have surrounded you all. And we'll see if you can kill these in one shot now, shall we? Look, thought it was...
No.
Yeah, you all gonna die now.
Oh, dear.
It's a shame you guys failed that awareness test. It's such a shame.
It's called watch, Gilly. You're supposed to have your eyes up and watch.
Yeah. All right, let me throw on some... Okay. Let me pull
But
you
I'd like
over
to imagine your
mountain.
whittling is getting better, though.
Bright side, I guess.
The one
yeah.
positive.
All right. So we switch over to yet another map. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to get it centered in a decent way for the watchers. Okay. You are surrounded by a pack of wolves and wargs as they've closed in upon you. And they've gotten very, very, very close. I'm going to say Floy and Arinial, both of you, make an awareness test to see if you woke up fast enough to be able to get your opening volley as these things kind of slowly encroached upon.
Nope.
No, what's going on? What?
Yeah. And so, like, as you see them, you scramble quickly to your weapons, but like they're just too quick as they close in before you're able to kind of get any kind of ranged weapon off.
Yeah.
Gilly, if you want to take an opening volley, you're welcome to try.
Okay.
So that's fine.
Let's see how this goes.
You guys are so dead.
Renil wakes up and is like, that was not a whole shift of watch. It couldn't have been.
That's a failure.
Okay. All right. So... begin combat. Stanley, thank you so much. That's for me, I assume, not for these two. They don't need it. They can one-shot a troll. Clearly, I need the help. Okay.
Thank you.
Stances. Do your stances.
Can I even be in range?
Yeah.
stance?
So
me
let's
get my
go
PDA.
back to the engagement rules again. So if there are more enemies than heroes, I assign one opponent to each unengaged hero fighting in a close combat stance. Then for each remaining foe, including, etc., the lore master chooses between a hero in close combat stance who is already engaged or letting the foe stand back, possibly to attack using a ranged weapon, and therefore be allowed to attack anyone in the fight. Now, these are wolves, so it's not like they're carrying like bows and guns, so clearly they can't attack at ranged, right? So I guess you could, from what I could tell, only allowed if the total number of enemies isn't more than twice the number of heroes in the party, and so it's 5v3, so you're good.
I think
So
as
you-
long as she can move away, she could be enraged, but then none of them could attack her if she's enraged.
Only allowed, no, I just read it, it's fine.
Yeah, I don't think it
Yeah,
matters.
as long as there's
Okay.
not. If there was 6, I couldn't. That's what I was
Yeah.
trying to remember.
Okay, yeah.
As long as, and obviously the two of you are going to go into your stances. Okay, so go ahead and go into your stances, and
Forward.
I'm going to I'm going to assign the two to the north onto the one on top of the rock and the one just north of that one onto Floy. I'm going to assign the one to the east and the one to the south onto Aurinial. And then I think I will put the west one will probably assign to Floy, I guess, because that's the closest. So it looks like 3 on Floy and 2 on Aurinial. Okay.
All right.
All right. Stances are up. Floy, your turn. What do you want to do?
I'm just gonna raise my battle axe above my head and just yell a war cry. Just like, oh, ah. The combat task. Intimidate foe.
It's normally way more intimidating than that, but he's very tired. He just woke up. Go ahead. So you're doing the combat task, intimidating foe?
Okay. So I make all roll.
Yeah.
I'm in action.
Uh-huh. So he's taking combat task is one of the things. We don't do these a ton, but sometimes we do. But when you're in forward stance, you can make an all roll as your main action. On a success, the enemy's morale has been shaken, and all opponents with Might 1 are made weary on their next attack roll. If the roll includes a success icon, which is a 6 on a d6, then all adversaries of Might 2 suffer the same penalty. If you have two success icons or more, the penalty applies to all adversaries in the fight. So how'd you do?
So I'm gonna use a fellowship to make a favor real quick.
Okay.
We have 1 left.
Great success.
Yay.
All right, that means 1 and 2. So all of them will be made weary. Okay. So all of them are going to be weary. For their next attack roll. Excuse me. Let me go. Okay. Then Aurinial. So Floy, like, who would you kind of engage with? We'll say, like, where would you, like, it's kind of like movement and stuff. So like it's not like a D&D action thing, but like where would you move? Like where as you're shouting, you got your weapon out and you're where would Floy go?
I'll just charge this left one.
One to the west. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. And then it'll be Aurinial's turn.
Okay, so Aurinial is going to attack this one down here. So she's going to move and attack that one. Spend a hope point to get +2 for bold. And do this.
I'm going to... Which one are you attacking, by the way?
The bottom one.
I'm going to burn a hate, as these things have snake-like speed, and your attack roll will be ill-favored.
Okay, then I will roll again.
So you head to the one to the south. So I'm going to burn that hate. Still a great success. Okay.
So ill-favored would mean that it's just a success instead of a great success. Because I had rolled
ill-favored
it
means you roll twice and you take the worst.
Exactly. And so the lowest was the regular success.
Okay. Okay, so it's 3 points of damage. Okay.
Yep.
All right, sounds good. So I will record that. All right, then it'll go over to Gilly. Gilly, what are you doing as you see all these wolves that have slowly started to surround you?
Gilly's gonna shoot the one on the rock just because it's an easier line of sight.
Okay. That's the big one.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm gonna spend a hope to use my true or my keen-eyed, distinctive feature.
Okay.
So let me remove that hope if it'll let me. And my foundry's freezing, of course.
That's what she says when she's cheating somehow.
I'm just waiting for it to load.
Sure. Oh, you guys are so screwed. I'm gonna kill you with all these.
Last time it was freezing, you had a great success waiting for you when you unfroze. So.
That's a
I
shame.
didn't
It's a
even get a
great
roll.
failure. Oh, that's a shame.
Ooh.
I got just a success.
Okay.
So I use my Grievous Felbow. It deals 4 damage. It needs to make a protection roll test.
Sure.
Piercing blow.
Let me see if there's anything I can do to boost that. Yeah, there's really nothing I can do, it looks like. So this is... Alright. You have it properly targeted, right?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Okay. Let me roll. I don't think I have anything in particular. And you're in...
Range.
And you're in range. Okay, here we go.
Yep.
It is wounded indeed. As you put an
Nice
arrow
shot.
into its side. And this thing is like, you can see immediately you just get it right underneath its neck and just... You manage to get the arrow right in its throat, and it seems to be laboring pretty terribly, actually. Okay, is that your turn?
That is my turn. Yep.
Okay. Wolf's turn. The one that you just hit will collapse into a heap as tries desperately to howl, but the arrow in its throat seems to have caused it to just as it collapses and is freaking dead.
Wow.
God.
Gilly with the one shot.
The one on Floy will go ahead and target Floy, I think. And I think we'll go ahead and just make a attack with its fangs. Yeah. Oh boy. Well, oh boy. Well, look at that. That would
Look at
be
that.
an extraordinary success, as I got an Eye of Sauron.
Yes, you did.
All hail and all praise Sauron. And 2 successes as well. Let me see. Hang on. I think these fangs might have pierce. Do they have pierce? They do have pierce. So I have 2. So I have 2 special successes. One of those is going to be a piercing blow. One of them is going to be a heavy blow. So I'm going to go ahead and submit that. So go ahead and make a protection roll against
Sauron's just auto success, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for me, for my side.
Yeah.
Just like Gandalf's are automatic for you. Okay.
Let's fend off the piercing.
So as the fangs, you can see, are you wearing the new mithril? Are you
Yeah,
wearing the
I've
mithril?
got the mithril.
So like this thing just right on your sleeve as it's trying to bear down onto your bicep, but the coat of the mithril just happens to cover that part of the body. Like it gets through the furs that you were sleeping in, and it just crunches down onto it and can't quite pierce. It does shift its crunchiness down your arm, and it manages to catch your forearm where you're not actually protected. So you'll still take 6 points of damage, but you are not wounded. Okay. All right. Next up is which one? Which one's next? Okay.
One that's on me.
Yeah.
Oh,
Except
no, the other one.
No, I think I think that's fine. I think that one will. So the one to the east that was sort of surrounding the camp will certainly. You watch as it just kind of moves and leaps through the air and lands right next to you.
Yeah.
And I will. Yeah, I think I'll just nothing special. I'll just go ahead and kind of try to bite on you a bit. But I am unable to get through as you're able to fend it off. Okay. Let's see. I think I'm gonna get a bonus die. Because you're outnumbered, right? Isn't there? Am I thinking of a different game?
Yeah, I think so. It depends on. Isn't it stance dependent?
It's stance dependent. That's right. I'm thinking because we've been playing Savage Worlds lately, so I'm thinking of the gang up thing in Savage Worlds.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
no,
thinking
no.
of. Okay. All right. So the next one is the one that was behind the larger of the wolves that Gilly took out with one shot. Will it will look over at the wounded warg chieftain down on the ground, and then it'll stare at Gilly, and then it'll start running, and it'll leap through the air. And I'm using a specific ability it has called Giant Leap. I can spend 1 hate to attack any player hero in any combat stance, including rearward, as this wolf leaps across the battlefield and manages to land kind of right behind Gilly, and kind of also near Floy as well. And it manages to land and targets Gilly, I think, with its attack. So it will... Fangs bared. We'll go ahead and roll. And we'll fail. I hate all games.
Whoa.
Wait, how do you have a target? How do you have 18? How do you have 18?
What do you
Did?
mean?
How is your hit? How is your parry 18? Holy goodness. Okay.
That's what I got.
No, I believe you. I'm just complaining.
Oh, that's just what the number is.
Yeah, that's what I got from
That's
the
insane.
book.
Oh, it's because you're tiny. I know. It's because you're a hobbit. I know. You're a hobbit. Dancing around, tumbling here and there. Okay, then finally, the last one to the south that Riniel had attacked will return the favor. It'll kind of like slowly kind of shift around until both of these wolves are on either side of you, snarling, barreling. You see like foam coming out of its mouth, and it will kind of reach out and try to attack.
Oh,
All
dear.
right. So actually, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I think I accidentally targeted Gilly again. There we go.
Jeff wants me dead.
I do. I don't care for you at all. Okay. There we go.
Oh, no.
Oh, like a Sauron, all hair, Lord and Savior Sauron. Okay. And that's an Eye of Sauron. Piercing Blow, I believe, is the way to go here. So please make a protection roll. You're going to take 3 points of damage from the bite, but also make a protection roll against 14.
All right.
No one thought to throw a ball. Yeah, just throw a tennis ball. It'll go chase it. It'll be fine. So yeah, your newly stitched and reinforced leather happens to just catch the bite, the tooth, and just manages to keep it resistant enough so that when it kind of clamps down onto your shoulder as it's gnawing down, almost kind of up on its hind legs, there's just enough reinforcement on the shoulder plating that you added to keep it from really pinching down too further. You're still going to take 3 points of damage, but you are nonetheless unscathed. We will move to the top of round 2. Stance changes for anybody. Floy, you're still in forward.
Forward, yes.
Riniel, are you going to stay in open despite that you're being surrounded at this point by two of them?
I'm staying that way.
Okay. So, the one thing I want to look into is that you want to be in rearward, Gilly, but you are now attacked as one leapt on top of you.
Okay.
I'm trying to see if there's something you have to do to be able to, like, back away.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, like, I'm pretty I remember, it's been so long since I've read this.
I would be willing to like try and stealth away to like put distance like between us.
I don't think stealth is applying
No?
here. Like
Oh,
they
okay.
can easily.
I was
see
reading
you.
like
It's
the
not an
ambush
issue.
rules.
Ambush is
enemies
gone.
are ambushed,
Yeah, like I was gonna do an ambush to you guys, but I was being nice. So, because I could have ambushed you because you failed your awareness test, and then you
Yes.
killed my war chieftain guy. So now I regret it.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
You know what? I don't remember. I'm going to look really quickly in my GM screen that I just got to see if it's in here. Did I mention that I got my GM screen in that?
And your book
We did, yeah.
in the mail.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because that gets weird.
Okay. So I think, by the way, that I wasn't wrong. I think so there's advantages and complications I can give out, and so I do think the notion of you being outnumbered could potentially, you can argue that is a moderate advantage, and so they could potentially get a bonus die, I think.
Oh, okay.
Because things like attacking from high ground, exploiting a favorable terrain, could potentially work. And you can, and obviously you would be able to sort of counteract it by shifting into defensive stance, a Renial. And then other complications like cramped quarters or something like that. So we can make the case. I think you can make a decent case. Yeah, I don't see
Question in
anything
chat.
specifically. Yeah.
What eldritch god did you make an unspeakable sacrifice to ensure that you finally got your book?
Honestly, there's really only one kind of eldritch mythos god that I worship, and
The
it's
King in
Haster.
Yellow.
Well, it's Haster specifically, but King in Yellow is sometimes the overlapping association. But yeah, yeah, there we go. I finally got my stuff. Okay, I don't remember. I'm gonna say that you can I'm gonna say you can potentially back out. It does seem weird though that it's kind of closed on top of you, but if you used your
Maybe like
I don't know. I feel like it's engaged with you now. I really do. I think you would have to spend your turn to move away. Like I think you have to spend the main action. If you give your main action to like running away, then it could potentially do that. But there's no guarantee that it's not going to try to leap after you anyway. So it's kind of up to you what you would want to do, Gilly. You could potentially try to run away and be in range next round, or you could just kind of switch into a melee stance and kind of switch your weapon with your like quick action, and then it's up to you. What do you want to do, Gilly?
Considering I'm
Look it up
absolutely
later.
terrible with my short sword, I'll spend my main action to move.
Okay, so you're gonna spend your main action to move. We'll say you can. I mean, maybe try to like move around that big boulder that you guys were keeping camp around, or something like that. And we might argue that would keep it less inclined to leap towards you, since you're almost like taking cover. You're taking advantage of the terrain.
Okay.
All right. So then, Floyd, you're up. So it's not technically your turn yet, Gilly, but like you can move it now. It's fine. Floyd, what do you want to do?
Attempt to make contact with my axe.
Attempt to make contact with your axe? Is your axe like in outer space or something? Are you trying to send them a long distance message?
Contact
Okay.
successful.
Jeez.
Extraordinarily.
All right. Okay.
41 damage on the heavy blow. Directly towards the warg's skull.
You cleave it in two. Just slash right through. And the head of the warg just goes tumbling down to the snow. And into the snow and the dirt, and as the blood just kind of caters out and it flops over. Okay. So that one's dead. Arinial, your turn. As you've now got two around you, and you stayed in open. Okay. All right. Respect, brah. Respect. What do you want to do, Arinial?
Irinial is remembering sort of the underhanded success, and so this one that sort of just tried to, kind of bite at her shoulder, she is going to try to shove this keen short sword into its belly.
Okay, so the one to the south, that's that you first attacked? Sure.
So where am I at? I'll go ahead and take one of those D6s that we got.
Okay.
And first one.
You guys are crushing
Oh,
the
this
combats.
looks nope.
All right, Roger, thanks for hanging out. We're almost done here. I think once the combat's over, we're probably gonna call it for tonight. Ashley and I have another game to play in later,
Yeah.
so yeah.
We gotta get
That's a-
something to eat.
Failure.
You swing down, and right as you're targeting, the other one behind you kind of bumps you with its hip as it kind of swings around, and it just kind of throws your balance off just enough to make it so that your hit doesn't connect. Gilly, you go ahead and you start moving and running and trying to kind of hide behind the big boulder here. You know what? If you want to make that stealth test, make the stealth test. We can say if you want to make that stealth test to see if like it managed to kind of keep track of exactly where you're going. There's a lot of stuff going on, so maybe you managed to sneak away. But yeah, we'll do it.
Failure.
Oh dear. it saw you.
I'm
it
too
definitely-
panicked. And
You're definitely panicked, yeah. Okay. So there's two that are on Aurinial. One that came from the east is going to go first. And I do feel it's fair that like you're essentially flanked right now. I do feel it's fair to say that they're going to get, because like you're kind of being outnumbered here. They're taking advantage of this. They're knocking you around. I'm going to give them a minor advantage with this. I think that's fair. But you also, by the way, if this ever happens in your favor, remind me that I did this for them, because I should do it for you as well. So we'll sort of make this our own kind of like flanking rule, essentially.
Okay.
All
Yeah,
right.
I'm trying to find the stuff that I can do with battle, and I'm forgetting what it is, but I think I'm a little busy.
It's a
to
combat
try to do
task,
that.
I think. All right, so it's going to try to do fangs again. I'm going to give it 1 bonus die for it, and it's going to bite down. Oh my god, double Saurons! All hail our Lord and Savior Sauron! Oh, my
but
God.
then I rolled the Gandalf on my protection roll, so I'm protected.
Oh, that's fine. I still got double Saurons. I've rolled so many Saurons here.
You
This is
have.
fantastic.
So 3 damage.
Why did it get double? Why is it getting that attack at favored?
Well, maybe because of the.
Curious. All right, 3 points of damage. 3
Yep.
points of damage.
Got it.
Okay, next one is going to be the one by Floyd, the one that leaped towards Gilly. And I would say because Floyd managed to kill this other one, I'm going to say this one's not going to leap after you again. Instead, it's going to turn its attention now to Floyd, having seen it cleave through one of its pack mates. It'll go. With its fangs, it'll bite down. And it hits. Look at that. Only 3 points of damage, nothing
Wow.
special, but it's still 3 points. Very nice. Okay.
All right.
Have you seen the yellow sign? Uh-oh. Does that mean I have to bring out another one now? Okay. Let's see.
To number 2.
That's what I was thinking. All right. So then the one that's also on Aurinial, the second of the 2 wolves that are on Aurinial, will go next. No, I don't want it to target itself. That's just crazy. So
I mean, they're so close to each other. You try to bite me, bites its friend. I mean, you can see how this happens. Oh, for goodness sake. These
Holy
protection
moly.
rules.
Sauron is with me.
So,
I am protected.
All right.
more
That is
damage.
another Eye of Sauron. I've rolled like 4 Eye of Saurons. Like, this is
You have.
crazy, this fight. It's 3 more points of damage. And you managed
that's
to...
because you invoked your patron.
I have. I have. I was totally going to kill the ponies in this fight, too. But then you killed the freaking... You killed the
Chieftain.
chief right off the bat. So I'm like, oh, I guess I got to bring this other one to the fight now. So, like, yeah, I was totally going to kill them. All right. So... That is the end of round 2, and we go back up, and it's the top of round 3. Stance changes, anybody?
double
Nope.
forward.
Double forward. Double forward probation. All right, Floy.
I'm gonna fling this guy off my arm. Just hack into him in the snow.
Okay.
Oh, that's an eyeball.
Eye of Sauron's for everybody. Do you have a moment to talk about my Lord and Savior Sauron? Like, I would very much to talk.
If I,
I have a
roll them, I
pamphlet.
might switch over.
Oh my god, did I just bring Floyd to the shadow? Yes. Take 100 shadow points. Aurinial, you're up next. You got
All right.
wolves on either side of you. They're just nipping away and nipping away. Not huge damage, but one of these is
Yeah.
going to get through.
All right, same one that I tried to do last
You're
time.
staying in
I'll do
open
again.
stance. Amazing.
Oh, you're not in defensive?
So brave. Not
I'm
bold.
bold.
Brave.
Well, I mean, bold is what I've
Go
got.
ahead.
So,
Bold would be to
Um,
pick one of these up and just smash it into the other, right? That's what you should do.
I am.
I
going...
do have the stats in for wolves as a weapon if you want to just drag it over from the administrator. It's got a load of 10. You're just carrying around a big old dead wolf carcass that you're hitting other people with.
I'm gonna use one of my hope to invoke my bold. And
Okay. Invoke that bold.
I'm gonna go like side of the head with the
Side
short
of the
sword this
head?
time.
Calling shots of increased difficulty? All right, that's a penalty.
No.
Go ahead.
Oh.
That's a great success. What do you want to
That's a
do with
great
that extra success?
Um,
You have keen weapons, right? So would burning, and you're at an 8 on the feat die. So I think if you burned it for a pierce for pierce, you could actually get to a piercing blow because of your increased piercing range with your
so
keen
which would
weapon.
be better? I could add 7 to the damage.
I can tell you that if you get a wound on these creatures, you kill them. Like
Okay.
they just
Then
one
I
wound will kill
will-
them. I'm not. That's an automatic. They still get a protection roll, but I'm saying that is the option. And they will. Your base damage is. You said you can do 8 damage. How much damage did you say you could do?
7.
7's the total damage. That wouldn't kill it. So it would get close, but it wouldn't kill it.
Okay.
The piercing blow could kill it outright.
I picked the option for piercing blow, and I don't know what happened after that. Like I picked the option, and I said okay, and then it just said I attack and do 3 damage.
Okay. Yeah, I can just roll for protection. It's fine. Let's see.
Because wouldn't I roll another?
So Pierce, spend 1 success icon to modify the feat die numerical result of your attack
Yeah.
by +1 if using a sword.
Oh, got it. Yeah,
thus
which would
possibly triggering a
Yeah.
piercing blow.
Again, you
That's
have
right,
your
'cause
keen,
it
you have
doesn't
an
know that
increased
it's
piercing
keen.
range. Yeah. So
That's
I'm just
right.
I can do it on a different one. It's fine. So
Okay.
I'm going to roll it here. So all that looks good. All right. I'm sorry. I rolled your stats. Ignore that. Ignore that roll. Let's see if I have another one somewhere. All right, I don't. I do have 1 armor. Okay, so I'm just gonna roll it by hand. So it's a D12 plus a D6. That's what I got to roll. And what's my target? What's your injury rating on that weapon?
16.
All right, need to hit a 16. That 2 doesn't look good, and
That's
you
a
kill
7.
it. How do you
All
kill
right.
this thing?
I've called my shot to the head, so
Okay.
just side of the head with the
Calling
sword.
PETA. Why you guys keep killing dogs? All right, Gilly, you're up. You've managed to put some separation between you and the one that leapt after you. What do you want to do?
If I look and I see that he's like engaged with Floy, then well, no, the one died next to Erniel, so she's
There are 2 up, 1 on each of them.
Yeah.
she's terrified of the one that tried jumping at her.
Okay.
It's good
So-
logic there.
Yeah. So she's got her bow trained and
Siege
I am
launcher.
gonna shoot it.
Gotta just expand the weaponry available in One Ring to add wolf siege weaponry. What do you got?
That'd be terrifying. Sorry, my thing crashed again. I keep getting like an error message.
Okay. And you're just using. Are you just doing a straight up attack? I can roll it for you. If you
Yeah, because I think
Oh, there it goes.
There it goes. Oh no, another Eye of Sauron.
Oh God.
Yeah, I think that means you hit Floy, right?
No.
And since you one shot one of mine, it's only fair that you one shot Floy.
We
I
just.
mean, you
got
are
that.
keen eyed. Yeah.
I
Okay.
didn't spend it.
Okay, fair enough. So you miss. All right, so then it's going to come down to these wolves with probably the last attacks of their lives as I think, yeah. Oh, you know what? I keep forgetting to spend the 1 hate to make attack rolls ill-favored. I'll probably do that next time. All right, so this one's the one to the south over that's on a Rinial. It's going to go ahead and make a attack. Fangs blared, or bared, excuse me, not blared.
If there is
The loudest fangs you ever heard. Oh boy,
Oh.
that's a great success. But my feet die is not enough for me to get into a piercing blow. So I'm actually wait. That works differently for me. Hang on, I gotta double check something. Pierce works differently for adversaries than it does for slightly differently than it does for players. So on a successful attack, let's see. Yeah, so I can spend a success icon. The attacker scores a well-aimed strike, modifying the feat die result by the attack roll +2. So it's just a flat +2. All right, yeah, that's not enough to do anything. So I'm just gonna make it a heavy blow. Okay, so this is a. It still doesn't manage to rip through your armor, but just the sheer force of its jaws, you feel kind of like a crunch in your forearm as it's trying to wrench your arm free and trying to like get the weapon to fall from it. Over by Floy, as a wild arrow just goes flying off into the darkness, hitting, which one's your pony, Gilly?
No.
You just hear as you look over, there's a flaming arrow right in its ass. But the
You just
the
hear
wolf,
Gilly as she worries as it hits Floyd. She's just like, sorry.
it clangs off of his armor. Whoopsie. All right, so this thing's going to bear down on Floy. Oh my
How is
gosh!
it possible?
These guys are like the strong. I figured it was.
Is that another Sauron?
No,
it was
this
a
is
Gandalf.
a Gandalf. So. Oh, even without the Gandalf,
Yeah,
though,
even
I'm
with
still
it.
at 18. So yeah, it's still an 18. I'll pierce and actually no, I can't pierce because I'm nowhere close to it. So yeah, just double heavy blow. 9 points of damage.
I'm
as
weary,
it's,
by the way, just
Okay.
so everybody knows.
Okay.
Or wolves that shoot bees.
All right. Floy. Same thing. Assault. Forward, excuse me. Forward stance.
Yeah, forward indeed.
All right. Finish him off. I will
Return
spend
the
a hate,
favor.
though, to make it ill-favored. So this attack is going to be ill-favored as it's just dancing around, shifting and moving, shaking and baking. Still hits though.
Great
But I
success.
got rid of that Gandalf though. I did. That's what I did. Okay. Roll damage.
I got a heavy blow on it, so 14.
That'll be enough.
Wow.
How do you brutally and because you hate animals kill this thing? How do you?
Yeah, I missed the previous blow, so my axe in the snow, I just upcleave it into its chin, just pop its head off.
You pop its head off? Okay. Just whoosh. All these decapitated wolves. What the hell's going on? All right, Auriniel. This thing, like you've been outnumbered. This thing's been wearing you down. Your arm is kind of drooping now from the weight. You are weary. Do you just throw Argalip's helm? Like just fuck this thing. Just
do.
chuck it all the way down. You do? You drop the helm?
Well, yes, so that I'm not.
So you
weary.
don't be weary? Wow.
Yep.
How could you?
Like I'm not. It's not going far, but it is.
Call yourself a
coming
ranger
off.
of the north. You call yourself descendant of the kings of Arnor, the Dunedain. Oh shit. Whatever. Okay.
Which
go for it.
okay, for whatever reason isn't. Oh, never mind. I'm not going to bother because there's only one. It didn't affect my.
Drop your buckler. Maybe?
Probably. Yeah, it's not updating the load. So I'm just gonna manually remove weary. Because it's not updating. Because I should be back down to 11 load.
Okay.
But it didn't. The sheet didn't update when I took the helm off.
Okay.
So hopefully it will roll as it's supposed to.
Just you haven't manually reduced your load yet because it's constantly giving us the spam and the. I'm just gonna change your travel fatigue to 1 so you're okay. There you
Okay.
go. Go
Alright.
for it.
And then you said this is going to be ill-favored.
I do have the hate, so I will spend it, and it'll be as it's darting around. Go ahead.
I'm going to add a d6 in then, so it's keen short sword. What now? I need to select a token that is included in the combat tracker. Oh, I need to
Target the
target. There we go. And now keen short sword. And
There's
it
just one
is
more left.
worst, and I've got a dice. Why did that not roll? It doesn't matter because that is going to be the
Okay.
ill-favored.
Gilly, can you finish this off? Or
I'm
do I
gonna
kill
try.
Auriniel with this one measly wolf?
Oh no!
Do we have any dice left?
Yes, one left.
No, completely out.
One.
Nope.
You can have it.
All right, come on, Gilly.
Let's see.
Do I have? Hang on, let me see if my snake-like speed. Can I still do it? I will go ahead and do it. It doesn't say it has to be combat attack, and I have enough hate. So go ahead and make your ranged attack, as it's just moving and darting and dancing around Irinial, and it's hard to get the aim. So you're rolling it ill-favored, Gilly.
All of that hate should have gone away as soon as you got your books in the mail. All of that jealousy and hate should have just washed away.
So
They did.
okay.
But then you invaded the home of my troll, who was merely just cooking dinner for their
I would like
domestic
to
partner,
spend-
and then murdered him.
I would like to spend our last fellowship point to make it favored again.
No one's recovered.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Nope, but that's fine.
Okay.
So
Oh my.
success, 4 damage,
Nice.
roll a protection roll.
No. You. Describe how you kill this thing as it fails its protection roll.
Gilly's like it's moving around all kind of erratically, and so Gilly just kind of aims for center mass, and she manages to like get it in the throat again, and kind of like forces it to the ground with like the arrow, and it just kind of flops over.
Okay. And as it flops over, everyone kind of whips around, looks for more. And you can see that your entire campsite it's just sort of covered in the bodies of, looks like 5 wolves, wild wolves, wargs, including one very large one that is still kind of gurgling as it kind of breathes its final breaths atop the rock. And as the day slowly begins to begin, Marin has not yet discovered you, but you can look around for her tomorrow and for signs of Thorvum and Thebe. And I think that's where we're going to go ahead and end on 2 successful combats. One went ridiculously easy. This one much more difficult, in fact, as I was able to get some shots off on you guys. But I think we're going to end it there for tonight. Sound good?
Yep.
Nice.
We're here. We're at Mount Grom.
We made it.
You've made it. You've got some. Our fellowship phase in, and we are slopes. And you've laid the message, and so it's literally just a matter of time. And also, we can start looking around for our dwarf friends to see if we can find their corpses. And
Wait, excuse me?
yeah, I killed them pretty much right
No.
away. Pretty much.
I do think the upgrades
fell
to the
down.
leather shirt helped.
Yes, they did.
A bit.
For sure. Okay, Ashley, tell them where we're going to be in like an hour and 15 minutes.
We're gonna be over on Defenders of Kobold, and we will be playing The Darkest House by Monty Cook Games.
That is correct. A little haunted house game set in
Jeff's
basically
gone
modern
insane.
day.
mean,
My
we're all kind of
character
insane.
has gone insane. I'm perfectly fine. In fact, I've been
Delta
regaining sanity over the
Green.
past couple of weeks
That is
by
true.
having finished Delta Green. Yeah. Let's see. Melissa and I on Monday will be over on our own, actually on our channel right here, playing Ultraviolet Grasslands. You can also catch us playing some Deadlands every other Mondays. That's the other game. We're kind of switching back and forth. Saturdays we're doing our One Ring. Fridays we're going to be getting into the Traveler soon, but not next week. So we're probably gonna play something else next week, just like a one-off of something. So come kind of hang out with that. But I think what we're gonna do is we're going to log off now, grab some food, and then you'll see Ashley and I in a little bit over an hour. You'll see Melissa on Monday. You'll see Long next Friday. And that's it. Thank you for everyone who hung out tonight. Thank you for those of you who threw us some bits, helped the players out. Thank you for those of you who are watching this on YouTube. We definitely appreciate you. And all the support and nice things you've been saying. And even, when you've been throwing out corrections, it's happy to get those, especially like enunciations and stuff, because there's things I'm not 100% sure on. But that's it for the night. Hang tight. I'm going to give us a raid and take us somewhere else, and you can want to watch somebody else this Saturday night. But have a good night, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody.
See you later.
Bye.